Hey, what's good, people? This is episode 128. Yeah. That girl over there
You.
got a brewing in the house. That's Savvy Simo.
Hey.
Savvy Simo. The episode starts right now. Should I do it? Yeah. What's up, people? You have asked, and you have asked, and you have asked, and now you shall receive, because for me, I've got to give the people what they want. Dun, 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 dun. And I say, it's good, Sav.
What's good? That was just, wow. Amazing.
Look, sometimes I come into the episode low energy. Hey. How you doing? Whatever. No. I gotta recognize real Savvy Simo. How are you?
I am fantastic. Just got off the beach. That's my office.
Yeah,
just
man.
had practice, and I'm feeling good. It's crazy. Like, I go to work. It's weird that that's my job. I go to work, and I'm usually done by 10 or 11, and then I'm like, well, what am I gonna do today? And today I'm already having a good day, practice, workout, and now I get to hang out with you. So I'm off to a pretty good start.
Yeah. Oh, I did a nice little picture in picture. Look at that. Where is it? Right there. Ah, there you go. But that's not what I want to do. Do your job, Jason. This is why.
Come on, Jason.
Yeah, I got one job.
Oh, that's it.
Just the one. So you were doing a little bit of cross training. You were doing F45. Mm-hmm. Tell our audience. I know what it is. Mm-hmm. You know what it is, but we owe it to all of the people who may not know better. Yeah. Tell them what it is. The floor is yours.
I was connected. Well, I'll start with I've been trying to figure out the best way that works for me working out, because obviously I play volleyball almost every day, but I'm trying to figure out like the whole lifting thing and what, it's also expensive to have a gym membership. And so I'm like, do I go get a gym membership? Do I just keep lifting? A lot of the players have like gyms in their backyard or in their garage. Do I keep just hopping around everyone's little homemade gym, or do I, what am I going to do? And so I was connected with people at F45 and I had no idea what it was. And I kind of looked into it. And it seems like the most perfect cross training, because I do all the sand training, but this is kind of a combination of like conditioning and strength. So I went this morning at 7 a.m. and it was like popping. There were like 30 people in there absolutely getting after it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to come in and this is going to be, I like to think I'm an athlete. I'm in shape. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this workout. And all these other people who are not athletes, I'm just going to kick ass. And I got my ass kicked. To be completely honest, it was gnarly. It was like, I think they call it a HIIT workout. So you're doing strength workouts, but you're also doing, it was 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. And you're going through all these workouts and I'm like dying, dripping sweat. But it was a good way to start the day and I'm fired up. So today was my first day. I learned a lot about it. Tomorrow they call it, it's just cardio. Mm-hmm. So I'll probably die doing that. I just think cardio, like I'm going to just perish. But, yeah, it was really cool, and I think it's a good start in me trying to figure out what works best for me. If I maybe lifted once or twice a week, my normal lift, and did this once or twice a week, I think it'd be a really good combination with the sand training. So we'll see.
I'm going to point something out that's actually going to keep this bitch rolling. We in my experience as a coach, longtime player and commentator, I noticed that indoor players who trained on the beach and came back to indoor, their legs were stronger and they jumped significantly higher. However, beach players that just kind of play indoor, you would think, because they're out in the sand all the time, that they would have a higher jump than they jump. Their jump's pretty much the same. And a lot of players at the high level who know what I'm talking about will probably be like, damn, you know what? That's a good fucking point. And my reasoning, and this is how I'm going to give you the floor back. My reasoning is that if you only train your legs to slog through the sand, your legs will, in fact, succeed at being trained in slogging through the sand.
I like that word, slogging. Yeah. I've never heard of that.
You know why? Because, well, I think the reason why I brought it up is because out here they have something called the sand dunes, and like LMU and a lot of people, I think UCLA and USC, they do the dunes or whatever. And it's never, because I'm ex-military and because in New York I walked everywhere I went, and I'm like, this is supposed to be exercise? You fucking people are wusses, man. Just fucking walk. You do know how to walk, right? So again, before I steer us both the wrong direction or the right direction, does what I say make sense as far as not just indoor and outdoor? I mean, we can keep that one rolling if we want, but how other things help prepare you to be a beach player.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, I used to, thinking back to high school, you know, I'd play indoor all fall, winter, spring. And then I'd play beach all summer long. That's kind of how it was. I never really did club beach. I'd go beach all summer and just play in all the different tournaments. And then I'd come back to high school tryouts for indoor and be like skying through the gym. Like I felt like I could jump so high. And that's the same. And then, you know, in college, it was the hardest transition for me was going from indoor season in the fall at UCLA straight to the beach. So the only time you have to really acclimate to the sand is like Christmas break.
Yeah,
and like a lot
pretty
of times over Christmas break, I was just kind of like burnt out of the indoor season, kind of wanted to just relax, recover, hang out with my family. I'd practice maybe a couple times. And I go back and I join these girls who had been playing in the sand all fall. And I was like, I have never felt more out of shape in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy just to adjust. And so that's why I'm trying to figure out this workout thing, because I'm so used to indoor Olympic lifting. They want to build this strength up, but beach, then I go to beach season and it was more centered, or, you know, lighter weight, more reps, quick twitch, box jumps, all these different things. Then we also did like the sand conditioning. We did assault bike conditioning. That was all at UCLA, but now I don't have all of the resources to be able to do all that stuff. So it's like I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. And I have the indoor background and I do have the beach background as well. And I want to be quick, but I want to be strong. So it's trying to find the perfect balance. I don't want to put on too much muscle. I feel like it might slow me down a little bit, but I don't want to be too lean because I want to be able to be strong and be able to hammer a ball and be able to move through the sand, because you have to be strong to move through the sand. You have to be quick and stuff too, but you have to be strong to push through the sand and be able to jump at the end of a tournament. So the balance, it's interesting. I'm trying to kind of figure it out. And I think every player has their own path that they're going on, their own way to figure it out. But I'm young, I'm new to this, and I'm all kind of on my own. So I'm working on figuring it out. But today was great. F45 was a great combination, I think, between the strength and the conditioning part of it.
It really is.
Yeah.
I would say that if you're going to do strength and conditioning, then at the same time, you need that strength to provide yourself the ability to move through the sand. There's nothing wrong with going longer, leaner, and lighter in the sand. If you look at some of the players who carry no weight around them, those seem to be the ones who function the best on the beach. Yeah. Moreover, because muscles need oxygen, right? And your heart's pumping the blood and all that stuff, they don't cramp up as fast.
Yeah.
So for me, I would say, I don't know, 10, 20% weight room. I would say 50% technique. Just stop. I mean, do as many privates as you can and scrimmages as you can. You know, try to avoid training groups unless you're trying to network or unless you just want new ideas and see how your thing works against different levels of competition in this consolidated period of time. Right?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So I have friends. I'd like to use Taylor Crabb as an example, but I don't really know if he in fact lifts these days. But I watched him long enough to know that the man carries very little muscle, but yet he hits really fucking
exactly
hard. And
he moves through the sand.
And he's a popular example of a correlation.
Yeah.
In the point I was trying to make. I have friends in New York. I have a queen, this absolute fucking queen, Ren Osborne. All he does is dance. He doesn't hit the gym. He doesn't even do sit-ups. He's got this six-pack, and he dances 3 nights a week.
No, dancing is insane.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's insane.
And those queens know how to work.
Yes.
Dude. In New York, you go to the right club. I'm telling you, I'm like, fuck. This is like you ever go to like the Copa and you see like really talented salsa dances where everyone stops dancing, they just watch.
Yeah.
It's basically some of those house music clubs is like the salsa.
Dude, I literally went out last weekend and I was dancing probably like an idiot, and I had a side cramp. I was like, how do people dance? I literally got a side cramp at the bar. I'm like, this is terrible, because I was just dancing and having a good time, and I'm like, I have a side cramp. Like, it's a different type of workout. So
hold on, where's my camera? I want you to picture that. I want you to picture that inside your heads. I want you to picture a bar. They're playing We Are Family, and this one locks up, and she's doing, and then everybody else is like, okay, they all start doing that, and you're just like, get away, and they're just like,
They're like, okay. It's pretty much what happened. I just get in this mood sometimes when I go out, when like when I go to the bar and stuff, and people, like, I like to go out and dance and have fun. So when I was at Tower 12, and it was more of like a social thing. Everyone wants to talk, and it's so loud anyway. So I started dancing by myself, and like, I was just doing ridiculous things, honestly making fun of myself. I had so much fun though. Like, what? Like, it was a blast. And then I got a side cramp. I had to like go outside and take a breather. Like, this is a workout in itself.
Isn't it crazy that we look for some place where no one's watching?
Yeah.
And when that happens, you just don't want people to think you're like, you're all right.
I'm like, I'm good.
But with your athletic friends, you just say cramp, and they're like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
like
hands are yours.
This ring, the Aura ring, it's kind of the new big thing with the whoop and stuff.
And
my Aura ring,
stop right there.
Good.
This is
right.
the audience. Tell everybody.
So this ring it's called an Aura ring. It's really big, and it has all these little sensors on the inside, and it basically tracks the main things are your sleep, your workouts, and then it gives you like a readiness score every day. So based on how you slept and what your workouts were, the next day it'll give you a sleep score.
On your phone? On like an
yeah,
app
so it's like an
something?
app. Yeah, it's an app. So you pay for it. This one is like the older version. You paid just one price, a couple $100, and you get the app for free. I think now what they're trying to do is you pay a price, but then you also pay like $6 a month or something like that. It's not too bad.
It's Peacock. Right? Yeah.
Exactly. And so you get the app, and it pops up, gives you all this information based on your heart rate and stuff. I think the newer one, which I ordered, I'm just waiting for it to come, it has a little bit more information that it gives you, but it'll detect when you have a workout. And so whenever I go out to the bar and dance, like, I'll go back and it'd be like, workout detected. And usually it knows, like, it'll say, like, were you dancing at this time?
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, I was breaking it down at this time. And it's just funny. And then, my sleep score is terrible every single day. And I don't know why. I know, I was talking about this with Wendy a little bit last time I was here, but, drinking doesn't help your sleep when you're in a warm room with more light and noise. Like, none of that helps your sleep. Eating sugar before, all these things. But I'm trying so hard to get a good sleep score. And the sleep is just... I have no deep sleep.
Savage.
Give me some of your deep sleep. It says I'm awake for like 2.5 hours every night, and I have like 12 minutes of deep sleep.
Do you look at your phone
terrible.
before you go to bed?
I was a lot.
Because I remember you talking to Wendy. Were you talking to Wendy Jones about that?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so I was telling her, the blue light thing, we talked about it. It's so bad. And so I was FaceTiming Evan. I was dating Evan. Well, I am still dating Evan, but he was in New Orleans. So we were FaceTiming all the time before bed. And so I was looking at my screen, but he's in town right now, so I'm not on my phone at all. So I don't know, but it's still, nothing's really changed. I don't really know why, but I know the blue light thing is absolutely terrible, and I know that drinking kills too. But sometimes I have one glass of red wine, and I'm like, my sleep's actually better. So I don't know.
Wine is a timing thing, because wine slows down your heart rate, and actually,
it does.
1 to 2 glasses actually prevent a shitload of heart diseases.
Yeah.
I've
heard that.
I worked for a cardiologist for 17 years, and I can't cite the studies, but I can say that years and years of studying red wine or whatever, and this and that really, really helps.
Well, good to know.
Now, for me personally, for the thing that makes me go to bed, there's my whole life I fell asleep watching movies.
Yeah.
I just whatever and this and that.
I used to do that too.
So right now, Avengers: Infinity Wars, the very beginning of it, every night, whether I'm in bed and I just put on a little earbuds, or I fall asleep on the couch. That guy who gives them the speech, like, you should be thankful you're dying for Thanos. Yeah. When he says, "Hear me and rejoice," I go,
just out. Good night. Good night.
It's like some men at Stare at Goats type shit, dude. It is
interesting.
And it's about, and that's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
It is about having the same routine that leads you to that very moment. My wife, she likes to read.
Okay.
She reads before she goes to bed. But me, I try different things. But if I really need to bang out some sleep, I either just leave the TV on, 30. Not even 30-minute timer, sleep timer, 10-minute sleep timer.
Yeah, and you're
Hear
out.
me and rejoice. Boom.
Knocked.
Mouth open. Yeah, it's some crazy stuff. So
that's funny.
So I can appreciate having that ring and how cool it is for
No,
Californians.
it's been really fascinating.
And how bad it is for New Yorkers.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's like we detect exercise, and the New Yorkers looking at the run like, no, motherfucker. The one train's downstairs.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
I'm
get my
trying to
Metro
get
card,
the-
and I'm running. Okay, it's like my ring said. Your ring says you're starting the run. I'm like, yes. There's some guy who keeps asking me, "Are you Jewish?" And I'm trying to walk away from him, and he's walking behind me. Are you Jewish? Are you Jewish? And now I'm running, and he's running after me. Are you
Ring
Jewish?
detects.
Are you Jewish? It's like,
Workout
no.
detected.
Yeah. So.
That's so good.
Oh my God! I remember I lived on the Upper West Side on
Okay.
87th Street,
Okay.
and if you go further towards the Hudson,
Yeah.
there's these big blocks of just savage, awesome Jewish communities, and I say awesome because the education system's nice from pre-K all the way up. But man, occasionally it's weird. They ask you, "Are you Jewish?" And when you say no, they just kind of like walk away. They don't say "Have a nice day." Just kind of, and I'm like, "This is some okay."
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but that was one of the caveats I wanted to mention about that neighborhood.
That's
So, because I'm not like teasing Jewish people.
No.
I'm the one that gets teased by them.
Yep,
I mean, if
yep.
you've ever seen my afro, right? Yeah, it's called.
Have
a
you
Jew-
showed it on this podcast?
Yeah, I show it again. This is a Jewfro.
I had only seen you in a hat for like so long, and it was just
Yeah.
recently I actually saw your hair for the first time. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's Jason.
I have never worn a hat as much in my life as much as I've worn it the 5 years I've been in California.
Yeah.
I've never wore a hat. You can see coaching pictures of me coaching indoor or whatever. I had the hot the box, the hot top
Yeah,
fade,
yeah,
low and even,
yeah,
shaved all.
yeah.
And because I have this huge forehead, I just showed everybody. We call actually no, I take exception to. Thank you. How dare them? That's insulting. A forehead? No, it's a fucking five head. If you're gonna go big, go big. Or
Go big
home.
or go home, baby.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just a cute story about the ring. I have the Fitbit watch.
Okay.
And that's a really good gauge. But I think I don't know if I like the ring or whatever, because when you sleep, I don't know if you noticed it about your finger, your hands
swell up.
Yes. And does the ring feel tighter?
No, so the hardest part was actually finding the right finger to do it. They say that these fingers are the best. The three fingers in the middle are the best. And I think the pointer finger is the best one. But the way my finger, like this finger is shaped, like it's actually wider at the bottom. So it like was really uncomfortable. And then the finger that I have it on, my knuckle is bigger. So if I can slide it over my knuckle, it sits in a pretty good spot right here. And even when my fingers swell up, I also just think it takes a little bit getting used to. Like,
Definitely.
Because there are times like when I play volleyball, when I go on the plane and when I sleep, where my fingers do swell up and it's a little more uncomfortable. But like once you have it on for a long time, you don't really think about it. Like when I have it off, I feel weird without it.
I want to get a close up of that. Let's
Should I just flip the
let's
camera off on my middle
that.
finger?
let's check it out.
There it is.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's cool
Look
though.
at that. Yeah.
Here's my calluses I'm getting from lifting.
But it's not exactly subtle, is it? It's like
It's not. No.
Nah,
It's
look, I'm
not
gonna go
subtle.
back. Someone sees this ring and says, "One ring to rule them all."
No, it's big, and I never wear rings. Well, I don't play. I play in this, and I didn't get the whoop because I thought it'd be uncomfortable to play in. So I got this just because it's a big ring, but I felt like when I was passing, wearing I couldn't wear an Apple Watch when I was playing because if the ball hit weird on when I was wearing it, it just was not very comfortable for me. So I got the ring, and I do really like it. A lot of people like the Fitbit. A lot of people like the Whoop. Those are the other two things they're all very similar. They're different but similar. But once I saw that April was wearing this, Jake and Taylor were wearing this, I was like, I gotta get this. Like, it's super cool.
I mean, we're not going to confirm or deny if Taylor Crab actually gets sleep at night, but I'm pretty sure, particularly nights before
I would
tournaments,
love to
particularly
see
nights
his
before
sleep
tournaments.
score.
But some tells me April does. I think they're.
She's
I don't want to make
posted.
this.
She kicks ass. She sleeps so good. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How?
I think because she kicks ass.
She's
That
just
doesn't keep her up at
she's
night.
just
She's like, I think I got this
she's just
down.
a superhero.
Yeah,
Man.
she really is. And I definitely think there's a correlation with men and women. If they ever did a study on the amount of hours sleep women get and the amount of hours sleep men get, I think women probably holds higher value to it. You know. Also, men have bullshit jobs. Right, the finance world. My wife's in the finance world. It's male dominated.
Yeah.
But you know what? she getting her sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, go F yourselves. I'm getting my sleep.
Exactly.
So I want to post this because this is what we looked at the Wendy Jones thing, and I want people to take a look at it. This is from the Cleveland Clinic. And it's a pretty good article, and we're not going to get into detail because, you see how I'm doing right now. We should be talking about volleyball, right?
That's all right. I mean, this is okay. This is all related. Yeah.
So this is from the Cleveland Clinic, and just Google search, put the phone away, 3 reasons why looking at it before bed is a bad habit. So, and again, that's something, we're skating off this, maybe, or maybe not, but we're not going to read it for everybody verbatim. I want y'all to look it up. And
everyone should do.
Savvy and I will co-sign. It's a good read.
It is. It is. And I just think it's important. But this is, I know we're not talking about volleyball specific, but just as an athlete, the sleep thing is super important. So that's a big thing why I got the ring. I was like, why am I so tired? And I found out I sleep like shit. So it's good to see it. I mean, you have to know. And so I'm still trying to figure out what helps me sleep better and stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is a reasonable tangent to go on.
Hell yeah.
You bring me in here, we're going to be, I mean, I could talk to you for hours. So this is dangerous. Dangerous, deadly duo over here.
And if you look at the pattern of my podcast, like how long some of them have been, there's some where I feel like they prepare to come on a long time, and then an hour in, I'm like, that's all I got. Like Todd Rogers.
Yeah.
In my mind, I think this guy's coaching Cal Poly, and he's taking a break and after practice or between practices, and I'm like, he's making this time for me, so I feel like I want to accommodate him. And then when the podcast is over, so how's it going? What have you been up to? And I'm just like, shit, he was ready, and
he was so ready.
And sometimes I just gotta give this older generation of former players and coaches the benefit of the doubt that they're ready. Same thing with Holly. But like you and me, I feel like we can watch this all the way up to the UFC Saturday night. So
pretty much.
I'm doing a poll because this is live right now.
Oh, cool.
So I want to do a poll. You're a back row defender? Yeah, with Toni. So Savvy Simo should stay with Toni. Or 2, I was going to say be a whore, but that's not nice. And we're probably going to have to delete that. We're going to have to delete that part out. But, I mean, volleyball players know what I mean, but everybody's like...
I do. I get exactly what you're saying.
But in this softest cotton climate, they're going to be like, did you hear what Jason said 5 years ago?
I knew exactly what you meant.
How should we phrase it then? I don't want to say be a whore. I'm going to be like, explore.
That's good. Explore. That's good.
I mean, you're still young, man. I ain't trying to get you canceled. Just saying shit on this podcast. I don't feel right. So let's save that. And that's our poll.
Fascinating.
I didn't even know we could do it. I just saw it. I just saw it just now.
You're like, wow. We're learning a lot.
And here's the problem. This isn't going to last live for long because I'm doing a certain frames per second that Facebook hasn't adjusted to. So 30 minutes in, they say my bit rate has exceeded the max rate, and then it starts getting choppy. And if you look at it right now, look at the screen right now, you can see like the...
Oh, it's a little bit,
it's chopping
I can see
right
it.
now.
Yeah.
But
the sound doesn't do that.
Yeah.
It's just...
But that's not where we get our recording anyway. We have the...
Exactly.
We have this.
All the fantastic technology. Come on now.
There it is. This, ladies and gentlemen, when the world goes to hell and if this whole room shut down, that thing keeps ticking. She goes, oh.
It's awesome.
So let's talk a little bit seriousness, but no, let's just talk a little bit.
Should we talk about the poll? Should we talk about what you just put up there?
Oh, Savvy Simo should stay with her partner or explore.
Yeah. Do they really know? I mean, I don't know. It's weird.
Before I say what I have to say, is there something you want to say first?
No, I just don't know if they, this whole volleyball, this whole season is so fascinating. It's always kind of fascinating, but so you guys, Toni, you're going to have her on the podcast probably Thursday.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
I hope
Went
so.
to LSU.
I mean, I saved the space for her.
Yeah.
Whenever she want to.
Yeah. Went to LSU. She's a total stud. We're really good friends. Love playing together. But if you don't know beach volleyball, there's a point system. And in order to qualify for events, you have to have points, that's all based on, obviously, your finishes in these tournaments, but we just graduated from college, and so we don't have very many finishes, and we haven't even played that many events. And so to play together, at least right now, doesn't make a ton of sense. And so you have to make a decision. Do you play with someone that you enjoy, but you might not even get a chance to play, or do you go explore, like you said, go explore other options? And so we've had this talk a lot, and we're going to have to explore, which we're both very open about with each other. And we have to be. We have to just go see what the other opportunities are. We're both reaching out to other people, going to start training with other people, and see how it goes. I mean, this season's so interesting with the new point system, the whole setup of the AVP is a little bit different this year. So that pull, I mean, I've been talking to a lot of people about that. Do I stay with Toni? It's like Taryn and Kristen. Do they stay together? Do they split up for the international stuff to go get points?
It's not a question.
Exactly.
That's not a question.
It's so hard.
May I?
Yeah. The floor is yours.
Because you used Kristen and Taryn, citing as a pretext, which is where we were probably going to go anyway, and only using them as an example because you really can't pick a better one at this because we're prisoners of the moment, right? If you are who you think you are, what do you care about anyone else's point system? Why do you give a fuck? Okay, Savvy, this is who you are. I was gonna ask you, but that's almost insulting to ask you if this is who you are. Just say, I didn't get all dressed up for nothing. You're out here.
Do I look dressed up? I'm just
this
out
is
here
as fucking dressed up as you gonna look. All right?
Me and my leggings, and yeah, I'm comfy.
Man, I'm working this fourth camera like a mother today. If you are who you say you are, and if you know that you can only get better having chemistry, because we've seen so many talented players not win a tournament. Sponsor, right? She did pretty good in the FIVB. She still hasn't won an AVP championship, and mind you, she has good chemistry. Or at that time when they went straight Jakari's mode and won those 2 4-stars, they had the chemistry. But I have a secret for you that a lot of the top players are not going to like me for, but I don't really give a damn, all right? Where's the camera? I'm not this way because I'm on camera. I'm on camera because I'm this way, all right? So we got that out of the way, all right? So they care about their money first and then helping people second. So if they see someone like you, they will borrow you, and the relationship will be very, very temporary unless you are Taylor Crabb, this absolute G, and then you're back where you started from, and you've lost so much time when you could have just stayed with that partner and eventually gotten there anyway. There will be no hostile takeover of the men's and women's top 5 if people don't stick together. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. Banesh is the only example, and he's with Billy Allen right now. And I mean, Adam Robbins probably wasn't his better choice either because Adam's a little, I won't say long of the tooth because he's resuscitated his career, but how about Evan Corey? Evan Corey and Logan Weber. They won so many tournaments that they punched their own ticket into the Gold Series, right? The Manhattan Beach. And then after not qualifying Atlanta, tell everybody what they did.
They went after Seaside. They didn't qualify for Atlanta. They got on a flight and went straight to Seaside, and they won Seaside,
which gave them what?
That was the Chicago bid, and they already had Manhattan.
Yeah, so. And right now, listen, Logan made a decision to play with Hayden. And I don't like it, but I'd be a fool to say I don't understand. It's a chance to gain experience, and I get that. And Evan didn't wind up in a so bad situation myself because my sources are already told me because people just feed me information. He's with Bill, right? So.
Word travels fast, man. I mean.
Well, I have roots in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So there were verbal confirmations, and I knew even before Travis, who even covers this sport. So, but I am told not to say shit. So otherwise I wouldn't, and I won't because I won't have a podcast. It wouldn't be a volleyball podcast if I did that. So exactly. enough about me. I would like to see more people stay together.
I agree.
Win tournaments. Have tournaments where you have complete fucking meltdowns, cry together, heal together.
You get stronger together,
and get stronger together. All right, because that is a general way to develop. Now there are outliers.
Yep.
Because I don't want to sound like I'm just bashing those guys and calling them selfish. Well, no, I am calling them selfish, but it doesn't mean that their selfishness doesn't come from a righteous place. They're not just going to roll up and have everybody and keep someone for the next 3 years if they if that's not an investment for them, right?
Yep.
Taylor Crabb, Jake Gibb, good investment.
Yep.
Right. Taylor hasn't and wouldn't win AVP out without him, and with the Crabs, with him and his brother Trevor coming razor close. So that's my opinion on it, and it's not a popular opinion, but that's what this is about. This is not. My free speech is not here to protect popular speech. My free speech is here to protect unpopular speech. And if we don't have these conversations where I leave myself open for criticism, or even you for that matter, then there's no way to get past obstacles. We just keep kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
How old is Casey Patterson? Right? How old is Jake Gibb? How old is Phil Dahlhauser, who left but not really, right? Casey Jennings asked Casey Patterson, would young Casey Patterson let old Casey Patterson get away with this? And he said, absolutely not. And that's really all everybody needs to know about that. So that's just my opinion on it. So for you and Toni, unless it's an obvious failed marriage, you got to give it a chance. You got to give it a chance. And you can't fucking sell out for points. You just for its own sake. Because those relationships are very temporary.
Yeah.
You know, does that make sense?
It totally does. And I think it's a very interesting dynamic right now with everyone who's on the tour. There's the people who are like, you got to play with the people who have points. And then there's this group that's like, fuck the points. Play with someone who you enjoy and have fun with and you have good chemistry with. And we're somewhere in the middle because we don't have points.
Right.
I have some.
Yeah.
Toni has less. And all people keep saying are, you got to play with people who have points. You got to play with people. And then there's some people that are like, you got to stick together because you play so well together and you have a chance to get better together and all these different things. I am a big believer in team chemistry.
Yeah.
Like, I play my best volleyball when I'm with someone who I enjoy being on the court with, who I have fun with, who I'm comfortable with. That's when I play my best. I don't play well when I'm uncomfortable or when I'm not super close with someone because I'm like nervous, awkward. Like, I'm not an awkward person, but I never want to ever feel uncomfortable, or like I never want to know. I always want to know what the other person's thinking. If I'm not super close to them, I can't be as open with them. With this new MVP thing, the first two events of the season are pro. There's Tour is the lowest, Pro Series is the middle, and then there's the Gold Series. The first two events are Pro Series events.
Okay. Which
So,
one? What's the first two? Give me a
Austin
location.
in May, beginning of May, and New Orleans.
Yeah.
And,
I'll be there for
which
New
is
Orleans.
sick. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
I hope I can play. So, but there's no qualifier for those two events.
Okay.
Unless they add a Tour Series beforehand, because the Tour events now, which I think is really great, instead of having these
But
qualifiers,
are there bids? Are there bid tournaments? Are there situations?
I think there's still a lot of stuff up in the air.
Because even for the Gold Series, there are bids. Even for the big money, wink, wink. There's bids, right?
Yeah.
That's how Corey and Weber got into Manhattan Beach.
I think there's bids.
That's how the Brazilians got into Manhattan
Yeah,
Beach.
so there's those Tour events that are kind of like the AVP Next.
Right.
Instead of just those being I think the top 4 people qualify for, I think, the Pro Series events, and you can make money. So you don't just fly to a qualifier for an event and lose and make $0 and don't qualify. You at least have a chance to qualify while making money, which is cool.
Paid to show money. Got it.
Yeah, but I think there's still a lot of uncertainty because the first two events don't have a qualifier beforehand as of right now. So that's why we're all kind of scrambling. Like, we all want to play in these events, but if there's no qualifier,
so is it just
how
double
do we get
elimination
in?
event, or is it pool play, or
I think it's double elimination.
Okay.
I assume. But they take, however, maybe 16, maybe 24. I don't really know. I'm like the worst person to ask. I'm still trying to figure out the system.
And how many of the top 5 teams do you think are going to be at Austin? You think all? I mean,
I'm
I'm pretty sure that date is the same date as an FIVB event.
I looked, and I think there's an FIVB event on New Orleans, but I think Austin's open. I could be wrong, though.
New Orleans is more money.
New Orleans, and that's just sick. I mean, I visited Evan in New Orleans, and I think it's really, really cool.
Did you see the setup at Coconut Beach?
Well, I went to the AVP Next last summer, and it's so rad. Like,
wasn't it a first class setup?
It's so cool. So I think this is it's one of the Pro Series ones. So it's not it's not like the big money, but it's not one of the smaller events. It's kind of the middle one, and I think it's so cool. So like, and obviously Toni's from there, Evan's from. We all want to go play in that. Like, it's such a cool opportunity. But if there's no qualifier, me and Toni will not get in with the points we have.
Right.
That's the thing. So we have to start thinking like, and that's the same thing with Taryn and Kristen. Like, that's why I brought them up for the international stuff. If they have no points, can they even get into even a futures event?
Well, country quotas. I mean,
there's no more country quotas, I don't think.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I think there's qualifiers still, but I think they eliminated country quotas. So that's the thing. There's all these moving pieces. I still think there's a lot of uncertainty.
The country quota should be that in theory, because we've seen how they're playing. That should have been their ticket in.
Yeah.
They're a top 4 team right now. Top 3. Maybe even top 2. No, I'll just say top 2. They beat the brakes off of Sponsor.
They're amazing. Why would they split up?
Right.
Why would they ever have to split up?
Never.
But it's because of this system. I think they're planning on sticking together.
So how do they determine who represents USA Volleyball? These people, there was 3 stops on the Gold Tour last year. They won one from the qualifier. All right, and then semis for 1, and then 5th for 1.
That's the thing. The points. That's the hard part. Is I would love to say F the points. I'm gonna go play with who I want to play with, but that's the whole thing is the point system, and so I think the points are resetting right now.
Okay.
From the people who had it because with COVID and everything, and there's injury points and pregnancy points and all these different things.
Do people get to sit? That's what I was going to say. Who's sitting on their points? Who gets to sit on their points?
I don't really.
No, it's not a question to answer.
That's just I'm trying to think. I'm like, who actually has?
No, but that's a question for our audience to explore.
I think you can have if you get injured, you can like freeze your points. I don't know for how long. It's like X amount of time you can freeze your points for injury and pregnancy. I think that
makes sense.
What you can do.
He said amen. Sam said amen. Cool. Big time referee, indoor referee.
Oh, nice.
In Hawaii. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you can have these points, but I think because of COVID, everyone who had points, I think 2020, I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the 2020 season, those 3 events that they had in Long Beach didn't count for points.
Okay.
So I think that people still had points from 2019 in 2021. So they had points from 2 years ago.
Right.
Versus all of me, Taryn, Chris, and Toni, all of us younger generation coming in. Mm-hmm. I mean, at least for me, I played indoor, and so I never did AVP events until this summer.
Right.
And so this is like my first time trying to get some points. And I did okay. I did decent. I qualified for Atlanta. I played Manhattan, was on, and I did okay in some of the AVP Next. So I got some points. I have like 700 points or something like that.
Yeah. Which is what you would have if somebody picked you up on a temporary relationship.
For sure.
Do you see how the math works
on this one? No, I get it. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's been the hardest thing for me, I think, in this sport. Yes, it's an individual sport, and you have to motivate yourself and all these things. It's expensive, and we're not making that much money, all these things. But I love the community aspect. I loved being at UCLA and playing in college because it was so team oriented. Even though Beach is you and your partner, you still were on a team.
And there's a shitload of things you didn't have to pay for too. Man, it's great not having to have a gym membership. Not having to pay for coaches.
Mm-hmm. I know. I'm still trying to figure out the coach. I mean, there's so many things, paying for travel and all this stuff. But the hardest thing for me, I mean, I'm sensitive. I'm a softie. I love my relationships with people. I love. Like, one of my favorite things about this sport is the friendships and the connections that I've made. And it's so hard because you kind of have to be you're on your own, and you have to look out for yourself. And I always want to look out for other people and help other people, especially even me and my partner. Like, I don't ever want to bail on my partner. No. And maybe there's a time where, like, you should bail because there's this really great opportunity, but I don't want to burn the bridge with the person that I'm playing with. I don't want to bail on them. And so maybe I need to get more cutthroat and more gnarly. It's something I'm trying to figure out, because I can be if I really need to be or if I really want to be, but I'm sensitive. And I love people. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
So you have partner, do you have partner breakup guilt?
I don't like breakups. I hate that. That's even like, it's so hard. Like I'm a very emotional person. So
does it feel like breaking up with a boyfriend?
Yes. It's terrible.
He's like, I'm glad you asked that. Of course.
It's terrible unless you end on bad terms or it's mutual thing. But again, this is so new for me. I haven't really had like partner breakup really. Like I went through a couple different partners last season, but none of which were like, oh, we had this bad breakup or whatever. Like, you know, I played with Megan Kraft and Abby and then I played with Toni and I was going to play with Lexi, but she had an opportunity to play with Maria Salgado and they did great. And so I committed to a bunch of girls, younger people my age, college players, that either had they had to go back to school for the later events or they signed up with another partner for this event, which is totally fine. Like me and Meg played in Atlanta and then she signed up with Tina for Manhattan and they were obviously like play with Tina. She's incredible. And then she had to go back to school.
Yeah.
So, and I played with Abby. I loved playing with Abby. She's awesome. She's a great friend of mine. And so I never really had like a breakup really. And then me and Toni did well in the AVP Next in Clearwater in October of 2021 and kind of been playing ever since. So I haven't really had to go through that, but that's literally like my biggest fear. Like I hate that.
Yeah.
And it's, right now, people want to talk about partner stuff and, hey, what are you doing and this, that. And you have to be straightforward. It's a balance between like being straightforward, but not being a bitch.
Right.
Like you have to kind of find the balance of,
and
being yourself at the same time.
But I think
honest.
you're doing the right thing because it's a conversation that the two of you, were in full disclosure, right? You were very explicit in this temporary marriage or permanent marriage or whatever with Toni. So it's something you, as long as you're dialoguing,
we're communicating and on the same page. That's
and they're still going to be hurt if you break up, but it definitely softens the blow if it's something where they're like, shit, I can't say I didn't see this coming. You put yourself in a position where you expect the best, but you prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, right, Kristen Nuss, Taryn Cloth needed points to qualify. Atlanta, did they care?
No, they just went and did it.
No. Yeah. Mastrini and Mastrini, Lili and Larissa had to qualify for Chicago. Did they care? No. Made the finals, actually. So Nuss and Cloth won. Actually, that first game was like 21-11, so I don't know who's doing video work for Sponsor and Clays, but man, that's like walking down the street in New York and then someone randomly walks by you and like punches you in your face and you're just like, why?
I mean, they're so
what the fuck did I do?
They're
no, but
so talented.
All right, it leads me to my second question. How good do you feel you are as an individual, if not collectively as a team, that you feel like you maybe are not doing that boss shit that the Brazilians and Klaus and Noth are doing, but qualify as close enough. And I think you are close enough because if I'm reminding people, who did you have to beat? Well, tell everybody who you had to beat to get into Atlanta.
The first
who's the most important?
I beat Larissa and Lili in the second round.
That's it. That's all. I mean, the other.
And then I had to play Lexi and Maria Salgado in the third round.
We're not obligated to remember the others because if we were, they would have been in the main fucking draw. I'm just being real.
Yeah.
That's a real team you beat. That was a bronze medalist team playing with a partner who brings new meaning to the word chemistry. Okay. Yeah. Can I tell you a story about them?
Yeah.
And
they're awesome.
I never said this on camera, but I think I'm ready. Because it's related to this and just forgiveness and understanding and empathy. I'm at Coconut Beach, right? I got some center court spots to call mostly the men and mostly the Cali Bear athletes, Rafu and Ed or whatever. So they hooked it up so I can call all of their matches. I ended up calling the finals and the semifinals, Larissa and Lili. And I said, man, they look good. And it's one of the players, and I won't name him. I'm going to protect him because I want to fuck him up. Said that's not Lili, that's Larissa. And I'm like, no, that's not Larissa, cause the cheekbones or whatever. And then his friend next to him says, no, that's Larissa, right? So then I call someone over, and I'm not going to say his name either. And I'm like, cause I'm on the stage, and he don't want to come over, and I'm on the stage, and I'm bending down.
Yeah.
Is that woman Larissa? And then he looks at the other two guys and he looks at me and says, yes. So I find out it's this inside joke. They pulled this rib on me. And for an entire match, which they deleted, by the way, I'm calling her Larissa.
Yeah.
I'm rock star. I'm giving bios on people. I knew Andrew when Andrew won Dentler won the Pottstown Rumble. His career at George Mason. So I'm in my mode.
Yeah.
And I felt like it all got strawman and ruined by me calling this fucking person. I should know better.
Yeah.
As long as I've been in the indoor and beach game, I should know that's fucking not Larissa.
Yeah.
So I'm just being open about that story. So Atlantic City, I had to buy her flowers. Not had to, but I was like, look, here's flowers for you. Here's flowers for her. Here's some dark chocolate for you. Here's some dark chocolate for her. Here's a Slunks tank top t-shirt. I only got one. Y'all gonna have to fight each other. But all I'm trying to say is I'm sorry.
Yep.
I said my birthday's this weekend, and the only thing I want for my birthday is your forgiveness. And then Larissa says, "Don't make me cry," and she gives me a hug, and we squash it.
Yep.
I actually have that on video because Dougie Fresh.
Yeah.
Dougie Fresh taped it for me because Dougie Fresh said they're mad at you, and Chris Chips, whose response is like, "Dude, then you fucked up. They're mad at you," and I'm just like, I don't want my entire weekend
to be ruined. Yeah.
To take this small moment as this straw man fallacy. So, and it's weird because it was supposed to be connected to this, and I think I messed up.
No, you didn't. I mean, that's the thing though. That that's a good point, is how easily she forgave you and how sensitive she is too.
Dark chocolate does that for a woman.
Yeah, it does.
Antioxidants.
Flowers,
yeah, man. Aphrodisiac. It was red panty night that night. Damn it.
There's the tangent. There it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're deleting this live.
What I was saying
Please.
is when you play them on the court, they're gnarly. Like they want nothing to do with you. Like they are super ultra competitive, but every time off the court, they've been so sweet to me. I love their little baby, the little blonde, white haired. He is the cutest thing ever. I don't know whose parents come to every tournament. If it's Larissa or Lily's parents, I think it's one of their parents, and they take care of the little baby, and they're the sweetest people ever. And I just think it's so cool. You can be super gnarly on the court, but then off the court, it's
all good.
We're all friends. It's all good, and they are incredibly talented, amazing players, especially now that they play together. So when me and Meg beat them, it was huge for us. It was really. It's because I have so much respect for them. That's why it means so much.
How much did that help your psyche?
A lot. And just in like all the work we put in, and then you go and compete against these girls and you win, and then we qualified. We ended up beating Sponsel and Clays, and that was one weekend where I was like, I finally feel like I belong here, because it's hard when you're first getting into this, like, to feel like you're good enough to do it, because you come out of college. Yes, I was in the ones at UCLA. I had won national championships, these things, but still, you come out here and you're on your own, and you have to motivate yourself.
Yeah.
You have to, unless you have enough money to pay for a coach and pay for all these things that help. I mean, I didn't have a coach. I wasn't lifting. I wasn't doing it. I was just out there playing, and I finally felt like I believed in myself. But what was cool too is playing with Meg and pretty much everyone I've been playing with, which is why it's so important to me, is I was having fun. Right. And I was enjoying what I'm doing. Like, why do it if you don't enjoy it? And I think with this whole points thing, people may lose sight of the fun in it. Like people want to do so well. Obviously, I want to do well too.
Yeah.
I want to be in the main draw. I don't want to have to qualify. That sucks. It's tiring. But if you're playing with someone who's fun and you enjoy playing with, maybe you go play an extra 3 matches, 4 matches, and you're more tired, but you're still having fun. And if I start playing this game like it's my job, I don't think that's going to go very well for me. Obviously, I need to be super competitive, and I need to be mature and responsible and all these different things. But at the end of the day, I woke up and I was on the beach this morning playing volleyball. And when I'm playing,
did it feel like yoga?
Well, today was a little more frustrating. I am working on a lot of things, and I was pretty bad today, and I was tired from F45. But that's the thing is, when you're out there, maybe when you're working on some stuff, you're having a tough day on the beach, it's just not your best day. You're like, shit, that sucked. But then I got off the sand. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that's my bad day. If that's my bad day, then this is a good freaking
good
life.
life, yeah.
It's a good freaking life. And I'm just content with, I'm starting to make more friends around here because I'm from Southern California, but I was commuting from San Diego. So like all last summer, I just didn't really feel like I had really infiltrated the group and like really felt like I belonged. Like when I qualified for Atlanta, I'm like, okay, I deserve to be here. I can compete with these girls, but I still was like not friends with everyone because I just didn't know anyone. And now I'm finally hanging out with more people and I'm spending more time here because I live here now. And I am feeling like I belong now on and off the court in this area. Cause this is a tight little bubble around here. Like it's a small little community. It's a small family. And if I can keep making these friends, I mean, it makes me so happy. And I'm in a very good spot in my life mentally. Like I'm just really content with my life. And yes, the partner stuff is stressful. And yes, thinking about the money stuff is stressful. I'm broke, all these different things. But like, this is a damn good life. And I'm just really happy to be here and to be competing against the best people, to be competing with the best people. And like if I wasn't playing beach volleyball, I wouldn't be sitting here right now doing this and talking to you. And like, this is a connection that I've made that I'm so happy I made. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that.
Look, I'm not just professionally eternally grateful, but I am personally giddy at what we're doing right now, shooting back and forth like it's a fucking Tonight Show. Okay,
so we're just sitting here chat like it's just casual, it's fun, this is so natural.
It's selfish on my part because I knew the conversation we had would be colorful enough to get to increase viewership. So some of it's selfish.
I know you have all your questions right here. Have we gone through any of them yet, or
actually
some.
There were some
that
were supposed to be in the middle, but there were two I could just cross off now. So there's two important things I want to say before I have a question for you. One, I really love the story about Larissa and Lily. I was going to say Toledo again. Being gracious in victory or defeat. Because you are a West Coast person and you do know that out here we have something called California sore winner. These people are your friend, how you doing, where you're from, and then when they beat you, sometimes they act like dicks, all right? You see it more in the indoor scene than the beach scene, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It does exist, okay? Two, John Mayer. And this is leading to the question about surrounding yourself with people that you love and trust and that make it fun for you to come to work. All right. So John Mayer, I was the director of operations, which is really just another way of saying assistant coach because you're only allowed two, but it's the big fucking secret before the gig is up. You got to tell these DO, you got to tell these DOOs to shut up. I mean, Alzina couldn't be a DOO. There's no fucking way Alzina had to be a coach. But and he's on here too. So
he's awesome.
So John Mayer at the end of practice says something that if you do it the wrong way, it makes people feel bad about themselves. But he didn't. He says, look. He says, all right, guys, you can come to practice, right? And I saw some of you out there doing your own thing, and that's okay because so you have a choice. You can come here and you can just do all the things that you're good at, and get a couple of reps, and you leave and you feel good about yourself. He says, but do you get better? And a lot of people are like, no. And he's like, well, no, not no. He says, maybe, but maybe not. And he says, but you present an option of no. Right? The option of yes, maybe you get better is still there, but now you just open another option to not get better. He says, or you can come to practice, you can and some things you get your butt kicked, and you leave and you learn something, and you still feel better. And he says, does everyone understand what I'm talking about? And everybody's like, yes, coach. And this leads to my question: where are you right now, as far as people to scrimmage against, coaches you trust, okay, sponsors who back you? Where are you as far as building and presenting an environment where you look forward to coming to work?
It's a very good question.
Thank you for being patient for the whole fucking story. And all
that's
that
a
stuff.
very good question. I'm kind of in the middle here. So I have some sponsors and I have some coaches that I trust, but I haven't committed to any coach yet because it depends on, both partners need to like them. I need to be able to afford it. All these different things that the fact that I even think about it is crazy, but I have to. I love the training groups that I have. I've been playing with everyone and anyone on the beach. I mean, it's cool. Like everyone has each other's phone number, and every week it's different people to train against. Sometimes we repeat, but
it's fantastic.
you know, like and it's really cool to see what, you know, for example, we trained against Kelly and Betsy the other day, and I love their energy was great, and I loved the practice that Jordan ran. Like I thought it was really cool, you know, different than anything I had seen before. But I love the community I've been training against, and pretty much everyone I've been training with or against has been super awesome. So I'm totally content there. The coach thing is one thing that I'm definitely lacking, mostly because of financial stuff.
Yeah, the ones that actually know they're what they're doing don't come cheap.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Mostly because financial, and you know, me and Toni we're both training with other people too. We're still season's not till May. We have our options open, and so it's like, okay, if I train with someone who has a coach, I'm gonna, you know, that's great. And I'm the type of person to like, I'm pretty flexible with whatever coach, like as long as you know what you're talking about, which pretty much everyone out here does. I'm okay with the feedback you give me. And I have all these things that I want to work on. So I just present that to them before the practice. Like, hey, I got a lot of shit to work on. These are 3 things that I really want to focus on. If you see it, let me know. And that helps a lot give them the feedback that I need to continue to get better. And then the sponsor stuff is great. I got an Oakley sponsorship, and then I have another sponsorship from a company back home. And they're giving me a good chunk of money, which is great. And obviously I want to keep building that because I want to, and I'm working. I'm the Miracosta JV coach for the beach volleyball team, which is awesome. I'm getting good money for that, but it's only a couple times a week.
Who's running it?
Nancy Reynolds.
Okay.
Well, I call it Nancy Mason is how I know her, but I think
Right.
Reynolds is her married name now, I think.
Yeah. I don't think she minds either.
I don't think she cares
Right.
either. She's great.
Yeah, when you build a name, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes.
and I trust her too, and she's awesome. And so I do that a couple times a week, but then the sponsor stuff helps. I want to start competing so I can, you know, it's always great to compete and get some money on the side. That's really exciting. I would love to lock down a coach, partner, and a few more sponsorships. That would be ideal. But like I said, I'm pretty content right now with where I'm at. I've found a way to not really stress about this stuff. I truly believe that everything's going to work out how it's supposed to. And as long as I'm putting in all the effort and I'm making the connections, and it's not only effort on the court, it's effort off the court. It's going to the weight room, and also the amount of text messages that I'm sending and receiving during the day, just volleyball related, is crazy. Like there's a lot of moving pieces. Like this girl, it was a funny question. This girl that I was giving a lesson to, she's like, so what do you do like during the day? Like, what do you do? Like, what's your job? Like, if as a professional player, what do you do? I'm like, well, I practice in the morning normally. Sometimes in the afternoon, I like to play in the wind just to get the wind training, but most people play in the morning. Sometimes I coach in the afternoon. And I'm like, I was sitting there thinking, like, what do I do every day during the day? Like, sometimes I lift, but a lot of it is like, I'm just at home and I'm not doing work. I'm not getting paid to do what I'm doing, but I'm all these moving pieces. And like, okay, the sponsor that I have at home wanted me to order some bathing suits they were going to reimburse me for so they could put on their company logo on it. And like, that took me a couple hours to just, you know, look through bikini. It's like all these related things that like doesn't seem like it would take up that much time, but it does. Like there are so many moving pieces, like coordinating practice. Like I'm always, you know, in my planner trying to plan stuff, doing stuff like the sand casts, all these little things that are centered around volleyball, but it's not really work. I'm not getting paid to do it, but it all goes into it.
But it's your brand.
It all goes into it. Yeah.
It's your brand. Look, right now, given your age, you are in a position where, and because you're totally oblivious to it, it's the most liberating feeling in the world. This is one less thing you got to stress the fuck out about. All right, you are in a position where your brand and your bottom line are the same thing, right? This is why I ask you questions and I'm having fun or whatever, but I'm for the AVP and anyone watching, I'm not gonna ask this girl a question that's gonna fuck with her brand. Guys, I promise you, I attack volleyball players with volleyball, and, right? And if that's the problem, they could step off. But you're in a position, and I hate bringing it up because I don't want you to go home thinking about this.
No, I mean,
your brand,
I've probably already thought about
your
it.
brand and your bottom line. For educating the people at home, your bottom line is your groundedness. That's your rent money. That's how you eat. That's how you live. That's how you. That's the bed you sleep on. Your brand is something that I'll just say it straight. It's a lot of fucking free work you got to do to eventually get paid, right? And I think you are in a very good place because as long as you keep your nose in the work, you're not thinking about those other things. Because stress is a real thing, man. Stress will make your fucking belly round. Okay, you're doing 100 sit-ups, and because you're stressing, you're like, I still got this kangaroo pouch.
Yeah.
So, and that was something I wanted to point out. I think that at least on a positive note, you do a really good job keeping your nose in the work. And California, something I learned about moving New York to California is one. You're gonna love this one. Sometimes it's not fair. Such is life.
Such is life.
Okay, but and two, and you're gonna love this one. If you don't take that fact, kicking and screaming, you do get rewarded for it. And I'm speaking from personal experience, and I'm not talking about life experience because I'm old, whatever. Don't say the F word, okay? Fart.
It's already happened.
But yeah, I'm 100% sure. Look, if I ever ran for office, they're gonna have plenty of material on me, and I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I said that. What else you got? You know, but am I canceled? You get rewarded for not taking that fat kicking and screaming. And again, not making this about me, but just my last 5 years since I moved here and the stresses that I had to do to build what this little brand I'm doing, still flying under the radar, which I'm very comfortable with. I hope this podcast never blows up the way some people are, because now all of a sudden, you know, you feel like you got to change up shit. Now you start feeling the pressure on the walls and what people think about you. So the piece of advice I can give you, and I don't really need to give it to you because I've been doing this a long time and I see this, you know it's not fair. But you're not taking that fact, kicking and screaming like a low person. A little girl, sexist, a little midget, heightist, a little bitch, sexist. Take this like a little
something.
Look, I like you're like a dude with long hair. I like talking to you, man. Dude, I said red panty night on this podcast.
You did.
So,
you did.
Hey, let's talk about something that might make you cry. Okay, we're going through this bevy of emotions, so hold on to your seat. And it's the very first question I asked, and it has nothing to do with timeline. So, 2020, you're finally hitting your stride. You're playing with Monkhouse, right?
2020, I was playing with Abby.
Oh, Van Winkle. Right. She's a freshman.
She was a sophomore at the time.
Oh, because 2019 she was a freshman. And I remember that because I did a BVNE, Beach Volleyball National event, where Stein had the freshmen and seniors play together. So I think it was Sponsel and Van Winkle. It
may have been,
against Tina and it might have been Coppola.
Yeah.
But all right, here's my point. 2020, you're doing good. You're having a good time, all right. You cheated on the test, but you're over that shit, right? You got sent to the principal's office, and everybody loves you and forgives you. Unlike Joe Rogan, unlike Whoopi Goldberg, right? People love who they want to love, and they love some savvy. 13-2, all of a sudden the pandemic hits. All of a sudden the whole world goes to hell, and you're in this environment where you're just thinking about volleyball, and then you are in a certain place, and everybody says it's shut down, and you're like, what's going on? So my question, and it's like I should have just asked this in the first place instead of doing all this shit, right?
No, this is good.
Where were you when they told you this? I asked Dane this question too. I asked John Mayer. I asked Corey Evan, first podcast, and he was welled up in tears.
He's soft.
We love him for it too. Where were you? Were you flying? Were you in the middle of playing a game? Where were you when they said it's done?
So the day before, pretty sure it was a Wednesday, we were at USC playing USC and Pepperdine, and they were like, you can only have 2 guests per player. We were like, what is going on? Like, why can we only have 2 people come because of this thing called COVID? We didn't know. Like, none of us really knew about it, and they limited it to 2. Like, my mom came, and maybe my aunt came. I can't remember. Maybe it was just my mom. And I remember I was hanging out with some friends that night. Woke up the next morning. I was in Acosta, which is our like athletic facility. And I'm hearing, like, I see Stein, and he's like, I got some bad news. I'm like, what? Like, I'm pretty sure we were going to lift weights.
Yeah. And you're like, You caught me cheating on another test?
Yeah, I'm like, exactly. Actually, no, I didn't do that anymore. I learned my lesson when I did that. I learned my lesson.
Almost got her.
I learned my lesson.
You might fold under questioning, girl. Go ahead.
No, but he just was like.
He said he has bad news.
Bad news. And I'm like, what? And he pretty much told me that we were done. And we had everyone show up, and it was so weird. It was the weirdest thing. There's like the staircase that goes up, and they sat us all down on the staircase, and they told us our season was canceled, and it starts like raining, like a light rain, but it was just, it never really rains here. So it was like, it just started raining, and we were all just sitting there like, we had so many questions, but at the same time, like, nothing was, at that time, we didn't really care for answers. All we cared about or really knew was that our season was done. And for me, I was like, so I'm done. I'm done with school. And I think at that point, we'd already gone online class. They'd already switched it to online. And so, yeah, it was on a Thursday. And we all just were like crying. I mean, I was crying. We were all crying. We were like, what is going on? Because they had never mentioned, right then, there wasn't the fifth year, COVID fifth year. That wasn't a thing. That wasn't right away. That wasn't addressed.
No.
So I was like, I'm done with college. School, volleyball, for all my friends, all these experiences, I like done in like
and
overnight.
And it finishes like this.
Mm-hmm. So I was a wreck. And we ended up going, there was like 12 men's volleyball players living in a house at the time. And so all of us went over to their house, and we all just kind of, we did our best to make light of a really terrible situation. And we all hung out, and we all went out that way. It's crazy because I remember going out to like the bar, our local bar, and it was full of people. So our season was canceled, class was canceled, but the bar was still open. But it looked
like the Wild Wild West.
Which didn't make sense. But we all pretty much celebrated like it was our last time together. And I packed my bags up that Sunday, and I went home to San Diego. And I didn't know what was going to... It was the weirdest thing. And I went home and was home for months. And then they called me, and they're like, you know, and I was sitting there like, if this COVID fifth, it was trending on Instagram, like, let the seniors have their COVID fifth year. And I was like, I'm not coming back. I just didn't want to. I was like, I was done with school. Like, I was just ready. I was mentally ready to graduate, and being a senior is hard. Leading a team is tough. And it was a season where there was a lot of partnership switches. I didn't know if we were going to win. Like, LSU was kicking ass. I was stressing. I was like, this might, like, I don't know. I was like, you know what, maybe this, and like I said before, I think everything happens for a reason, and what's meant to be will be. So I was like, maybe this is a sign that I should be done. Like, I didn't know what to think. The more I thought about it, the more I talked with my parents, with my coaches, I'm like, I'm a freaking idiot if I don't go back. Like, why would I not go back to UCLA? Why would I want to graduate from college and go be an adult? Like, why would I ever want to do that? So I obviously went back. I'm so glad I did. It was really, really hard. We had so many restrictions. We couldn't hang out with anyone that was outside of our apartment, not even our teammates.
So it was a quarantine.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not even, like, I could only hang out with my 3 roommates, which were my teammates. But, like, we tried to have a team bonding thing outside. We're at my apartment. It was a Saturday during the day. I had all of us over, and so the neighbors called the cops on us because we had a gathering larger than like whatever the gathering size was supposed to be. But we were all practicing together. Like, it was literally just the team. So, you know, we tried really hard. And I talked to Wendy Jones about how hard it was, like, trying to lead a team or trying to. Because, like I mentioned it also, I love the camaraderie. I love the group. I love
sisterhood. Yeah,
exactly. And we couldn't really do that. And I think that's why we had such a, it was so hard for all of us, because our culture at UCLA is so strong with that sisterhood and with the, being a super tight group. And we couldn't do any team bonding. We couldn't hang out with each other. We couldn't do anything together. And so, we figured it out. We won Pac-12s, and USC played incredible in Gulf Shores, and like they beat us, and that's that. But I don't regret coming back and not winning. Like, I think I learned so much that fifth year. It was, I miss college. Like, I was so ready to be done, but I miss school. Like, everyone should stay as long as they can. Toni stayed for 7 years. Stay as long as you can. It's great.
Can you appreciate? Yeah. can you appreciate the effect that you had coming back? And it's hard. You're a pretty humble person, so it's really hard to ask your ego-driven question. But can you appreciate how different that 2021 season would have been without you? Can you appreciate that someone had to step up and be a leader? And when you came to UCLA, they had leaders aplenty, right? It wasn't you're like, okay, if it's not my role, good. That's her, it's hers, it's her. All right, we're good. Can you appreciate how important that season? Because look, you guys were 2-time champs, right? So if you don't win, it's a fail. But that's not a fail making the fucking finals. It's not a fail making the fucking finals, all right? And that wasn't an easy year either, right?
No.
Right? LSU wasn't just top deep. They were
we
pretty
lost
good.
to LMU too in the second round.
Well, LMU, they do their homework, and that's the best coach in the NCAA right now. That's without an army of people. He did it with his fucking brother, no less. Okay, and Carissa Cook, who's not a coach. All right. Well, she's a coach, but not really. So, stop. But can you appreciate how important that was? You being.
I mean, I like to think that.
Allow yourself.
They would be okay.
Allow yourself to indulge. This is real talk here. This isn't no ego shit.
I mean, I was the only person that had been at UCLA for 5 years. So I had been through all the ups and downs, everything. So I think it did help. I mean, I don't know. This is a hard question for me because I like to think that if I didn't come back, they would have found a way and they would have been okay. But I was there for 5 years. And so I did have a lot of experience, but it was really, really hard. Like, for me, for everyone, and for Stein, I mean, the amount of phone calls I had with Stein about, how's this person doing? What are they up to? What are they thinking? Stein cares so much about us, and Stein's a very emotional guy too. He cares so much, and so the fact that Stein couldn't, I think that's what made him a good coach too. I think so too. Yeah, and we had our ups and downs too. Like sometimes I was like, "You're too emotional," or "You this that," but like. Stein, I tell like the girls I coach, I'm like, everything I tell you, I learned from Stein and Jenny, and I'm just regurgitating everything they told me because they're incredible. Also,
let's not forget about Jeff.
Well, Jeff. I mean, obviously that was Jeff best, and Jose and everyone. They're amazing. They were amazing, and obviously Matt Olson, Mike Plotchek down in San Diego. I have so many amazing coaches on the beach. Nice. But
he's handsome as Stein. I'm a little gay for Matt Olson, but go ahead. See, I can't just let you flow. I'm a little gay for that dude.
He's awesome. But we had so many amazing coaches, but Stein is very emotional, and he wants to know, like, hey, is this person okay playing with this person? And he couldn't even have we couldn't even have individual meetings with the coaches because of COVID. So he'd call me, and we chatted so much about team culture, team chemistry, team drama, and this, that. But like he wanted to know everything, and he tried his best. I tried my best, and I was talking to Jenny all the time, talking to my teammates outside on the street because I wasn't allowed to go in there. Like all these different crazy things because of COVID. But I mean, I think just having me there, just from like an experience standpoint, and had me seeing how. What the culture's been like over the years, because I saw the culture when I first got there, and I saw how great it became, and then I also saw it starting to slip once the 5 senior was Izzy, Carey, Zana, Sarah, and the McNamara twins. That was
all gone.
An incredible team. Yeah. Like, and Elise Zappi, we had so many amazing people that had this culture, and they left, and it kind of was put on me a little bit, and having 5 big figures versus my 5th year was just, there were other seniors, but I was the only one that had been there the whole time. And for 5 years, it felt like the weight of the world on my shoulders. And I saw it slipping because I didn't have, I'm constantly learning and growing. I'm still trying to learn how to be the best version of myself. And some days I led this way and some days I led this way. But like I've mentioned, I'm so emotional. I let my emotions get the best of me sometimes, and when people are not following the culture, I take it offensively because I'm like, this is the culture that these girls have built for us, and you're not following that. And like when I was a freshman, I was an idiot, so I get it. Like when you're a freshman, sometimes you're stupid and you want to go do dumb stuff, and you don't realize how frustrating it is until you're a freaking 5th year senior, and you're like, why are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah. How did you conquer that?
A lot of conversations with my roommates. I lived with two other seniors and a junior. I lived with Jacqueline Quaid, Leah Monkhouse, and Lindsay Sparks. So, we'd go home and talk about a bunch of stuff. And I call my parents a lot, talk to Sign and Jenny a lot. And a lot of conversations with people that, either I felt like were hurting the culture, or people who were, they could help, but they weren't. They were just kind of neutral, and they needed to step up and help. And it was hard. And I just hope that the work that those girls did before us, the work that I did, and the work that my, the class that I graduated with did, like, that continues to go. Because even though we had some, a shaky, 2020, 2021 season with the culture, I do think that the team is actually doing really, really good right now, culture wise. And I hope that continues. And I've talked to some of the girls lately, and they've mentioned that, like, they had a conversation as a team about, just because you're a freshman or sophomore doesn't mean you can't be a leader. Right. And I think with that young of a team, and so many, a lot of the seniors, they're not even, they have another year, or they're still, it just, everyone seems so young still. I think it's really cool that, and very important for that team, that young of a team, to have voices from all different ages. Right. So I think that's really important.
Something weird just happened with my mic.
I know. I was like, I can't really hear you.
Unplug it.
It's all good.
And then that's so weird.
That is weird. Can they hear you still? Probably. Or no?
Oh, they can hear echo.
Echo through mine.
There. Okay, that's yours.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It just
out of nowhere.
Shit, there it is.
What came on? That came unplugged?
Yes. Just trying to figure out where it went.
You guys, this studio, the technology in here is ridiculous.
Ready?
Boo.
And I gotta line up the holes.
We're back.
Let's get busy.
We're back.
So follow-up question. How much does understanding somebody else's history come into play?
So much.
It has to.
So
Look,
much.
I ran into Delaney Mewhirter last night.
Mm-hmm.
Former Pepperdine Wave, I guess a coach there a little while in the Sokolia, and then the coach before that, right? But now she's really hitting her stride. You want to talk about, I think you and her are kind of in the same boat as far as momentum and playing your best volleyball at the right time. But I told her to her face when I first met her, I didn't like her. I didn't like her because when I was at LMU, she was like, I can't be coaching and this and that. And John basically told me there's a way I can say things that's not coaching, but it is, right? So when she's like, I can't be coaching, I'm like, I did a Conor McGregor on her. I said, who the fuck is that guy? I said, who are you again? And she goes, I'm Delaney Mewhirter, this or that. And the reason why she acted like that is because she worked so hard and so long to get to where she she had to go. Anyone who she feels like is disrespecting the sport is offensive. You can't treat that like business. It's highly personal with that and that. So that's how she felt, and it took me a while to understand and compartmentalize that. And that's her part, and that's very much your boat too. You are offended when you feel like someone's not putting in the same effort where you see maximum potential. Because you lived
You
it.
should see me as a coach right now, coaching these 16-year-old girls. I lose my mind.
Yeah, but with that being said, gotta know who the fuck you're talking to. All right? I kind of knew who I was talking to. I read her bio. She had no idea about me. She saw a guy with a Yankee hat she didn't know that was doing this longer than she's lived. Literally, longer than she's lived. So when she says I'm Delaney Mewhirter, I have a look and I say, okay, but my look says, watch yourself. I will throw hot tea on you. But then you read the bio and then you see the way she operates and the way she treats other people. And I say to myself, you're a fucking asshole, Jay. And you were wrong. You're trying to sneak some coaching stuff in. And she called me out on it. So it's one of those things where it took me so long to love and respect this woman, and she doesn't know this. But I told her a little bit last night. But it took a path for me to do that because our level of offense, of not knowing who each other was. cross paths the wrong way. Do you get what I'm saying?
I completely get what you're saying.
And that's kind of the question I was trying to ask you. I know 16-year-olds, some of these kids in the South Bay, their mom don't even talk to them the way some coaches do. But and that's what I was kind of getting at. There's some people, and as you continue to coach, there's some people you're going to notice that they missed a play because they're just not paying attention and then they're not engaged and whatever. But then you're as you continue to coach, you're going to detect some people who see the ball and it drops in front of them and they're really not trying to let the ball drop in front of them. There's a mental block that's preventing them from just moving their fucking ass. And you can't suicide both of them. Right? You can't drill both of them. You have to, you as a coach, if you're going to be a fucking coach, right? And if someone's going to pay you to coach, you have to learn either on your own or through people to be able to detect these different personalities that might have a story you don't fucking know. Why am I saying fuck so much? But you get what I'm saying, right?
Well, I do, and I think being a coach and being a leader, it's similar. And what I learned a lot again this 5th year was maybe this girl is not that they're not trying, but maybe they're having a tough day. Like maybe something's probably going on in their life outside of volleyball that is restricting them from performing at a high level today. And that's something that it's hard to learn that and to understand that. And I think just whether it's one instance or this is a habit that's happening over and over and over again, I think that there's always more to the story. And I think that everyone has their own story. And, you will quickly learn that there, like with the coaching thing, there are some girls who just don't want to be there or they don't want to try. They're lazy. And there are some girls that maybe they have a tougher home life, or maybe they had a gnarly day at school, or I feel like there's always more. And so I had to learn, I can't just react if I see someone not go for a ball or I see someone acting a certain way. I can't just react from my emotions. Even if I'm frustrated, I have to consider that there's their side of the story as well.
There's something else in the play.
Exactly. And that's something I had to learn. And because it's easy to see someone not trying and just to react and be like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, everybody backline.
And I used to do that. At practice, I'm like, if you don't want to be here, then don't be here. That's just it. But
can you appreciate that's how you were taught, though?
Yes. That's how I was raised. It's how I was taught. And you learn, if you call someone out like that, whether they start crying or they react back at you or it motivates them to try harder, there's always a reason as to why they react a certain way. You know what I mean? There's so much more behind the scenes. And I think that's why this whole mental health thing is growing. And I think it's really important because you just never know what's going on. Even if it's something as simple as they just didn't sleep because they were studying for a test. It could be something simple like that, but it could be something way more. And with girls in college, a lot of it's mental health stuff, body image stuff with their boyfriend. There's all different kinds of reasons why someone might be having a bad day on the court. And you have to consider that we're not just athletes, we're also humans too. And we have lives outside of being on the volleyball court.
Yeah, and I think that's where players who are a lot of active players are club coaches, all right? And some of them, they do what they were taught, and they're just right parroting that information. And then there's some who want to do it someday, and they work a little harder. But on a general level, if an active player is coaching a junior, they're not going to mess up your game that much. They can only help. There's just a question of what level can they help? Can they help this much or that much? Yeah. And I'm only saying that because I'm happy that someone like you is doing that, because you will learn as much from them as they learn from you. Because
I'm learning
it is such a hypersensitive age demographic where they're still psychologically developing from a kid to a teen to a young adult, and a young adult to a full adult. So everything is amplified fivefold. And when you see that and you detect that, you understand that about them. Hence, you understand that about yourself. This is why players learn more from coaching than coaches learn more from playing.
100%. I learned
How's
so
that
much.
for a mic drop?
That's true. I learned so much every day after practice. I'm like, wow, I learned so much. And I'm giving him coaching feedback and telling him I'm coaching them on stuff. I'm like, I'm actually learning about volleyball a lot here because this is stuff that I should be doing too. But most of it's the emotional side, and I am emotional, and I and putting a lot of time and effort into these girls. And when I see girls, you know, one, not trying, or two, I'm trying to
just
talk,
missing, yeah.
and they're like staring, they're like looking this way. They're like looking the other way. I'm like,
I'm over here.
and in my mind, I'm like, that's the rudest thing I've ever seen in my entire, and I get so frustrated, but
Yeah.
I have to take a step back and be like, you know what? One, there might be more going on. And two, I'm also like, I'm not going to get to everyone. If I can teach a couple and they want to learn and they want to be there, great. I have 30 girls on the team. I'm not going to get all of their attention 100% of the time or all of their effort 100% of the time. It's nearly impossible. But every day, you know, Evan's been coaching with me and we have the talk of like, you know, you have to keep working hard and you have to, if you want to, you know, your coast is the best beach, you know, high school in the country or the state or whatever it is. It's incredible. The girls, there's some incredible players on the team.
Yeah, it's a factory, man. And I don't mean that in a bad way. No, it's this place where kids can respect each other, be on time, learn a discipline, learn how to play the sport. And if they're interested, they keep going. And if they're not, you really got to step off because there's so many people, right? So it is a competitive environment. And I think kids should be learning competitive environments at an early age. And I think in this softest cotton generation, Miracosta is kind of a super necessary thing to happen. So too. And especially in this community, because between you and me, we've coached all kinds of I'll just say different personalities. Yeah. I'm not going to say brats or anything like that.
No, different.
Do you know what made me a good coach? If I can coach in D3 in New York, coach in Division 3, because Division 3, there are a lot of people that are like, I have to go to work after practice. I'm working from 6 o'clock to 2 in the morning. I have a friend I have a player that missed practice because he spent the entire night because they trying to get his brother out of jail, right? And he was with the parents. He needed to be with the parents. And, you know, he comes to practice the next day and I'm like, where were you yesterday? And he's like, I had something to do. And I said, I don't care if it's your mother's bar mitzvah. You make sure you get your ass to practice. And, you know, so that's me making the mistake. But as a coach, maybe not really. But then understanding later, you're like, darn, I feel like the fucking asshole.
Exactly. I know.
So that's helped me immensely. And I'm really trying to be careful here because I'm not trying to say the CUNY City University system is just littered with troubled kids. No, City College. 5 of my kids were pre-med. They're in the Sophie Davis School of Medicine, which is top 30, which is not, you know, California, but they have but they're medical schools in New York. So I'm very, very careful to not say all of the kids are trouble, but I'm saying when you coach Division 3, and these kids are here, and some of them, they're just good volleyball players and they're looking for an escapism. There's always going to be one player that you're like, that's a soccer player who wants to play volleyball. He's not going to start, but he's going to learn the game and be all right. And then the next season, you just, you know, it's your fingerprints. You're proud as a coach because it's your fingerprints all over them. So, but so many things I learned about different personalities. And it's not, I'm not talking about kids. I'm talking about adults. Yeah. Doing adult shit. Yeah. Working and putting themselves to school and deciding, I'm going to give up sleep so I can play volleyball. So, yeah. But that's what's built my character as a coach. So anyone that's like, oh, you coach D3. And I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. You have no idea. You think sitting there being an average mechanic in a room full of Ferraris makes you a coach? Stop. Try being a great mechanic turning Ford Pintos into Tauruses. Okay? Then come see me. Yep. Leads me to my next question. Because I'm Kanye West in this, right? This is awesome. Volleyball for most of your life has been a form of escapism. So now that your escapism has become your career, what's your escapism?
Very good question. Very good question. I still try and keep.
It's such an awkward question for someone that's just about this.
No, I mean it's. These make me think. It's good.
I smelled smoke from here, girl.
No, it's.
No, go ahead.
I still try and keep volleyball as my escape. That's kind of this balance I've been talking about because it is an escape. Like if this is my career, that's awesome. But, you know, what me and Evan have been doing, it's really fun. Like even if we have practice at sunset, we'll go down to the beach and just pepper and mess around. Yeah. And that's a really good reminder of like, this is fun. This is still, even though, you know, maybe for 2 hours on this day in the morning and then we have a lift, this is our job. It can still be an escape. And I'm also a very social person. So a big escape for me is just hanging out with people. I moved to a great spot here and I love having friends over and having company come over. And as much as I spend time on the beach, going to the beach and going surfing or just laying out in the sand, like that's an escape for me. Going hiking, just being outdoors. I love going home, taking my dog to the beach. I want to travel more. Yeah, I want to travel more. And just see more nature. Obviously, I'm going to get to travel with beach volleyball, but I want to continue to see some of the beautiful things in the world. And I think that's a big thing for me. And it's something that's really cool that volleyball does for me. It takes me to these incredible places. Like I was able to go to Turks and Caicos. I was able to go to Mexico just to coach, which is so cool. I'm so excited to see where this sport takes me in like this country and throughout the world. It's really cool. But I think that's what I'm trying to figure out. I want this to continue to be my escape. Like there's other stressful shit that goes on in all of our lives. And as much as it is my job, if I go to practice thinking it's my job or go to a game thinking, oh, I got to win this game so I can make this much money, like I'm not going to perform at my best. Again, I do need to put pressure on myself. I do need to keep competing because but I don't compete because I want to make money. I compete because I love competing and I love playing the sport. Like, I think that's what I'm still learning, but that's something that's so important to me is like, I want to compete and do this because it's fun. And when I'm competing at my highest level, I'm having fun. And when I'm doing that, I'm going to make more money anyway. So why sit and stress? It should all take care of itself. And, you know, you need to be serious. I need to take this stuff seriously. And I do take it seriously. Like I'm getting after it. I'm lifting, I'm practicing all the time. I'm doing things but I'm also having fun with the process. I'm having a lot of fun at improving parts of my game. I've been playing pretty shitty lately, but it's because I'm working on so many things. Yeah. That it's exciting. I leave practice, I'm like, I played terrible, but I'm learning so much and I'm growing so much physically and mentally. So it's also exciting. Like, and then finally I'll have a day where I'm like, oh my gosh, it all clicked. Like everything I've been working on for this long is starting to click, and that's really rewarding. Yeah. But if you have a bad mindset and I don't think it'll work. Like, because I don't want to get burnt out, and do you see what I'm getting at with escapism though? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know Greg Faulkner? Mm-mm. Greg Faulkner, he's an ex-player at Cal Northridge, big time middle. Probably the only African American his height walking around the South Bay. Yeah. He likes to sing karaoke twice a week. Yeah. Tower 12, right? Last night I'm at Hennessy's with him. It's my escapism. Yeah. Theater performance, because that was my major in college. That was my escapism. Because when this, and I'm sorry, and if I interrupted you, you're not at all. I'll make a note and we can finish that.
No, you're not at all.
But when my escapism became my career, coaching, commentating, I knew that I had to have something I can do a couple of days a week that allow me to cut loose, let it all out, because in your psyche and in your psychology, what you're letting out, one thing has nothing to do with the other. Yeah. All right. I had a bad day at practice. I'm singing I'm Feeling Good by Michael Bublé, but the emotion that comes out of it comes from the other thing. Yeah. But the audience doesn't know that because you're just expressing yourself. And because I do that twice a week, it allows me to come back to work where I can function like a mammal. Yeah. I'm not going to get into the whole speech of how the job can't save your ass, because I think you were at the that was the podcast. Was that with Wendy Jones or Toni?
I think with Wendy.
Remember, I think I told a story about The Wire, the show. The
no,
Wire.
That must have been with Toni.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell it to you. Yeah. There's a show called The Wire on HBO. Dominic West, was a show on The Wire. Yeah. Dominic West, Brit actor, had to put on this perfect Baltimore accent to play a Baltimore detective. Yeah. This guy was a douchebag. He drank every night. He cheated on his wife multiple times. He sold out his superiors. He sold out his whatever. But something he is a really, really good police. He can crack a case. He can crack a case. He can crack a case. And he goes from one case to another, to another, to another, until finally his partner, someone who was his partner, told him, the job can't save your ass. All right, you're taking down this case and you think you're done, but now you feel like you have to do another one. You have to do another one. And at the end, when it's all done and when you can't do it, what's left? What's left is what you chose to be your escapism from your career, family. Well, friends with different last names, if that's someone's thing, right? Friendships, hiking, knowing when to get out there and come back and do your job. Because I am telling her the same thing that I will tell you. The job can't save your ass. Sooner or later, it becomes so much where you want it so bad, and when it doesn't happen, it will eat you the fuck alive if you're not careful. All right? And I don't mean to put it... I'm such a fucking hater, man. I'm such a hater.
I totally understand, though, what you're saying. So
I'm telling you, from an old vet, whatever, to this promising, just skill, high technical, smiling, bubbly personality volleyball diva. Did I say enough? Yeah, that's enough.
Thank you.
From one person to another. All right, because people could say what they want about my volleyball experience. I got life experience. I consider experience. Okay, not failure. Experience. Make sure you stay disciplined on your escapisms, because this thing has become your career, and it can. I'm not saying you have. I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive. They can be binary.
Yes.
But have something else that allows you to do this longer.
Yeah.
Until you realize the day the job can't save your ass.
Very good. Very good point. I agree. I mean, everyone always asks, like, what's your, even on like little things that, what's your favorite thing to do when you're not playing volleyball?
Right.
And it's always like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Go to the beach.
And it's not gonna hit you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make sure you don't get poked in the left eye 10 years from now.
Yeah.
I want you to make sure that you're having a good time, and I don't want you to do anything else other than volleyball if it makes you happy. Going to work makes you happy. Going to play makes you happy. Peppering with Evan Corey at night, that's heaven. You know, you can't pay money to have a better time than you on a sunset peppering with Evan. People can pay money and not have the same feeling you have doing that. So that has to be said too, because I feel like a hater here, and I'm not.
You're not. No,
and I swear to the audience listening, I'm not
all.
doing that.
No,
Okay?
I don't think you are at all.
Yeah, I really like what I see. I like watching you go through your process. I'm a little creepy. I watch people from afar.
That's fine.
You know, hey little girl, hey, how are you? What's your name? I think I said that last week too. I don't look 51. I look like a creepy 35. I look like one of them guys. Are like, watch out for that dude.
Oh my God.
Talk to me about China. You went with Tori Van Winden. I believe was it under 21s or something like that? Talk to me a little bit about your experience traveling there and this and that. So
yeah, that was a tough one. That was kind of like my first travel event with USA when it was like a U21 thing. I qualified to go with Tori, and it's like 26 hours of travel or something just to get there. Like, it's ridiculous.
Is there a bed?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then, just to put it short, we're in the qualifier.
Right.
And we have to play Brazil the first round, and we lost our first game.
Who was do you remember the Brazilians?
Yeah, they were younger. I have them. I follow them on Instagram. I can't remember their name.
I'll do it. I'll plug it up on BVB.
It wasn't Patricia and
right, Anna.
Yeah, it wasn't them.
Rebecca. Right.
It wasn't Rebecca.
No, Rebecca's not someone.
Victoria. And
okay.
Another young one. Victoria. Yeah. But we lost our first game, and that freaking sucks. Like, going all the way there and playing one game and losing, are you kidding me? It's terrible.
Boo, right? Yeah.
Sucks. And yeah, there's stuff that went on the side, and you know, it was a lot, and me and Tori kind of went through a lot. She transferred from UCLA and you know, did her career at Cal Poly and Florida State. And we've really come full circle since then, and I hope she's doing. I haven't heard from her in a while, but I hope she's doing well with her ACL stuff. You know, she tore her ACL.
I know. I called that match.
Ugh.
It happened
So
on.
sad.
She was playing with Kelly Kalinsky.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Just for the audience, just looking at that's who you
Who was
with.
it? Was
Is Victoria and Victoria.
Yes, Victoria and Victoria. Yes, right. Yes. Yes.
Oh man, and you got LMU at Hermosa Beach. I remember that too.
Yeah, they were awesome. They played really well.
Yeah, well, that was Sav and Emma playing their best volleyball at the right time.
Really,
LMU
really good.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But sorry, yeah, go ahead.
No, I just think that was one of my biggest learning experiences, I think, in my whole career, because in same with like losing to Sav and Emma at the Hermosa qualifier, I think I've learned so much more from getting my ass kicked than winning. And winning feels good. Yeah. It's a reminder of how hard you've worked. But I think though, like flying all the way to China to lose one game, like that was like traumatic. Like that was terrible. It's so you feel humiliated, especially if it's your first time representing USA. Like that sucks. And obviously I did my best. Tori did her best. It's not like we weren't trying to win. And that's just something that I learned so much from. And all, at UCLA, I lost a ton of matches, like especially in my earlier days. I lost to girls that I probably shouldn't have lost to, games I shouldn't have lost, just because whether they play better or I had a bad game, it's still a game I shouldn't have lost. But again, I like those are the ones that like haunt me. Those are like that's the stuff that I've learned the most from.
I'm looking at the score. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm like, this girl's hard on herself, and I just saw the score.
No,
and
it was bad. Yeah, it was bad. It wasn't good. And like, but I learned so much from that. You know what I mean? And I would do it again. But that's the world tour for you.
I wouldn't. Fucking 20 hours, man.
It's a lot. But yeah. I met so many cool people. I learned so much. Like there were a lot of ups and downs that trip, and I learned so much, and I've grown so much from it. And I that's the thing is like, there's a lot of, I've had so many experiences in my life that were bad or traumatic but I wouldn't change any of it because it made me, it sounds cliche, but it all shaped me to be who I am today. It sounds super cliche, but it does.
But bears repeating. Yeah.
It does. And I think that's a big thing with the world tour, like especially with the qual. You can fly all the way across the world and play in a qualifier and lose. Like, that's scary.
That's the life of a gangster.
But that's how it is.
That's the life of a gangster.
Exactly. And that's how it is. And I wouldn't change that. And that's where you learn a lot. And maybe you lose, but you're in a cool country and you get to travel and you get to experience a lot of cool things off the court. So, I tried to make the best of my situation there. Like I said, I met a lot of really, really cool people there. A lot of really cool athletes. We all still follow each other on Instagram. I haven't seen them in years since that, but we all like each other's pictures and comment on each other's pictures, and we're still friends. And I hope that the older we get, we'll see each other on tour. We'll do all these super cool things. Like Darby Dunn, she was playing for Team Canada there, and I practiced with her today. Like I met her there. And
Darby?
Yeah. And that's the thing, like obviously I knew her, through LMU and stuff, but it's a cool thing. Like that's where we actually hung out and like became friends that trip. And that to me is really special. Like I said, yes, I lost. It freaking sucked. And I was in a different hotel than the people in the main draw. But every night I would go and hang out with these super cool people. And I met some really awesome we were all like 18, 19 years old. It was awesome. So I wouldn't change it.
Darby's so pretty too.
Yeah, she's gorgeous and she's so sweet and she's so awesome. Great volleyball player. And
in other words, Canadian.
Yeah, exactly. They're all perfect. They're all studs. They're so good at volleyball. I know, all of them. Yeah, the McNamara twins are out here too. I'm going to train with them next week.
Good.
I haven't seen them in a while, but
yeah,
that was definitely an experience that was tough. And like looking back, I'm like, phew, like that was emotionally exhausting. But again, looking back, like makes me smile because I've only grown from that, and I learned so much, and I wouldn't change that experience.
Jeez, you just reminded me. We were talking about Tori Van Winden. I ran into her when she had the cast, and I promised her I would look for the file of the set because I was hoping her and Kelly could keep playing. Because if you saw the way they were playing before she got injured, which is how it happens, you before you crash with an injury, at that time, and anyone that's ever played the sport, you're playing the best you feel, and you're playing. You feel invincible, and you're playing the best volleyball you ever felt in your life. A few plays. That's how you feel before that shit happens. So, and I was just worried because she was crying and screaming, and it was a mixture of pain, but also I'm probably when you get hurt enough times, you're just like, when can I be back? And you're like, I'm not fucking coming back from I can't believe I spent all this time. And pretty much with COVID, right? You spend all this time training in the preseason and making the team and forming this and leadership, and then someone just says, "No, that's over." You know, it's dude, that's like being at a nightclub in New York and you wait online around the corner and you finally get there, and then the bouncer is like, "You're not appropriately dressed. Get out of here." And I'm just like, screw you. So, good. I brought her back up because I wanted to talk about Atlantic City. She, when that happened, actually, I asked the replay guys. I said, "I want to see a replay. Let's see what happened." And the guys just looked at me like, "No, like we're not supposed to show it." And I'm like, "Fuck out of here! You're not supposed. What do you mean you're not supposed to show that? This is a sport. What are we hiding for? It's not like Anderson Silva." I don't know if you watch UFC, but Anderson Silva leg kicked at someone and got checked, and when it got checked, he broke his and they showed the replay, and Rogan was like, "Oh,
didn't that happen? Was
God.
that what happened to Conor McGregor too? He kicked that guy and
his ankle. When he kicked him, it was a mild fracture, and then when he tried to plant off of it
was just like
So. Yeah, it's a doctor stoppage.
But
I didn't lose. I didn't lose. I know. It's a doctor stoppage.
I was watching. I was like, "This is ridiculous." He's such a legend. Oh my gosh.
So here's a fun question. Do you think certain players have more superpowers playing at a certain venue?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Watching Trevor and Tri play in Manhattan this year was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like they were incredible. And I feel the same way. Like there are definitely places that like I love playing, and there are definitely places that I really don't like playing.
Right.
And like maybe this is biased, but like when I would go play at USC, I was like, ugh, like I really don't like playing here. And
you have no powers here, Gandalf the Grey.
I literally had zero powers, but also like I didn't like how the buildings were right there and the street was right there. I mean, like I just never felt like I had like any of like none of my best games were at USC. I can assure you of that. And maybe it's because I don't know. I mean, I felt like fired up enough to play them, but I just.
But wasn't that their only 3 losses here last season?
Well, against us?
Yes. USC had 3 losses, and all 3 of them were you guys.
I know 2 of them were.
Okay.
At Pac-12, I'm trying to think. The third one may have been earlier on.
Okay. Who won the Pac-12 championship?
We did. Wait, 2021?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. And then they won Gulf Shores. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I definitely think that certain people play better in certain locations. Whether it's comfort or it's somewhere that they've played before and had a good, like I think Molly Turner thrived in Chicago, and I think because she has so much family out there, and she had a huge fan base. Like when your family's watching and you have a big crowd, like there's nothing better than that. It feels so awesome. Yep. Yeah, like it's really cool. So those are just a couple that I can just think of off the top of my head.
Think about it. Sponsor and Clay has only beaten us in Cloth in Manhattan Beach, where they train all the time. Right? Chicago, tight game, 2 evenly matched teams. Either you win or you don't. Right. Atlanta, that went 3 sets, but it really felt like a 2-set loss. They at no point did they feel like, even in losing the second set, they're like, we're good. We make adjustments on the fucking fly.
Yeah.
And they didn't bring Russell Brock. They brought their blocking coach.
Drew.
What's his name?
Drew Hamilton.
Isn't Drew awesome?
I don't really know Drew that well. Yeah. But I've heard nothing but good things about him.
I met Drew at a BVNE because I was doing color commentary for beach volleyball national events, and because I was working for Duran. I was her skills coach for endless summer.
I haven't seen her in so long. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's still doing them. She's been doing them the whole time, just on a down low. Yeah. So, but I'm not with her anymore. But what the hell was I gonna say? Beach volleyball national events. I saw
Drew Hamilton. Yeah.
And I saw Russell, the recruiting showcases, standing there, just smiling and really friendly with everybody. And then I looked at their win-loss record like the last season because I just started doing research because I'm doing color commentary and I want to talk about the coaches. And I'm like, wow, these savages and these really, really cool guys, and they need to be strict when they have to, and they need to be nice when they have, when they want to. And and it's no coincidence that those kind of coaches help players thrive, create an environment where those players can thrive. You could say the same thing about Stein and Jenna, right? Johnson?
Jenny
Johnson?
Yeah.
No, not Jenna. Not Jenna Jameson. Sorry. Completely different sport, should I say. Mayor, just Mayor alone. You know, Betsy Flynn is she's not an upper or a downer. She's just a coach, but she compliments Mayor.
Yep.
Aaron Mansfield, one of the top 5 indoor coaches I ever met in my life.
Yeah.
I put him up there with McCutcheon and Marv Dunphy. So, yeah, those people, it's no surprise that they're very much top 5 because it seems like, right? Am I right? The top 5 create that environment 100%. Where the players can thrive. So
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Drew, I mean, like I said, I don't really know him personally, but like people love him, and I'm friends with a lot of the LSU girls, and they just are like, he's just such an incredible coach. So it's cool, and I think that obviously he's done a great job with Darren Christen too. Like they killed it, and like I'm sure he's a huge part of that, and he's so supportive, and he's been out here with them since they've been out here, and it's really cool. Like that's just really, really cool. So they've found a group, those 3 plus all of the TKN crew, all the parents and friends, the fan club, like they have a really good system going on. They really do. It's really cool. It's really special.
Did they build the new courts yet last year? Because when LMU played UCLA, they had 2 courts. This is like 2018. They only had 2 courts. Is it still just the same courts?
LMU or LSU?
No. Jesus freaking Christ, UCLA.
Oh yeah, we have new courts. We have new courts.
Are there 3?
There's 3 match courts and another court on the side that's match. It's a normal sized court, but it's like the walls are too close, so it's like so we have like 4 practice
I'm so
courts.
happy to hear that.
It's a really, really rad
I mean, you got 2-time defending, or at that time 2-time reigning defending NCAA champs, and you're playing in these 2 courts which look like some spot in Vegas, some little kitty litter box in Vegas.
But that's the thing. Is like I look back, I'm like, wow, that was such a big part of my career at UCLA.
That's how you got it in.
Yeah. Like that was, I think, 3 years at UCLA for me. Like it was crazy. And I'll never forget it, but the courts now are awesome.
But you're still volleyball, something I call volleyball wide-eyed. You're oblivious to the surroundings. You don't care if they're first class. You see a sandbox, you see a ball, you see 3 girls that want to play with you, and what more could be better? What more could be better, right? So, wanted to talk a little bit about athletes and activism and this and that. But for me, because I don't really have a question. I just might be a skip for me. I just want to say that certain people think that athletes should use their platform for activism and make statements and this and that. And for me, I'm just trying to make an argument for the athlete that just wants to play.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm approaching this. And I think we're just going to do that, and we'll finish like that. We're almost at 2 hours. I will not leave till we're here for 2 hours.
It's been almost 2 hours?
Yeah. That's just,
doesn't feel like that.
No, it's just fun. But
oh my gosh.
I think for the people that don't want to use their platform, some people use their platform for social justice. Some people use their platform to support the police. Some people use their platform for I don't know, universal health care. But I think the people who just want to play and have the fans follow them get a bad rap. I think if there's any one person who uses their platform just to play, there is not an athlete in any sport, never mind volleyball, that's more uniting than the athlete that shuts the fuck up and plays. I'm not talking shut up and dribble. This isn't the Laura Ingraham show, and this isn't LeBron James, okay? Yeah. I'm talking about people who all they know how to do, and they don't really do anything better. And they play, and they inspire people from opposite ends of the argument.
I think that's why sports are so cool. Everyone's there just to watch sports.
I'm being a little biased here. It's coming from a biased place. To me, I think not everybody, but I think that's where sports should be. You're taking 2 people who would probably not even have a drink together, but they like the same person. And if they're sitting next to each other, they don't see a D or an R next to their whatever. They don't see a black or a white. They just, once someone starts talking about volleyball and they're watching that player, there's nothing more uniting.
I agree.
Uniting. Because, and I'm only saying this because I'm hypersensitive right now about what's censoring. I don't, to quote Jon Stewart, don't leave, don't censor, engage. If you think uniting people and bringing people together is saying someone can't say something, is really, it's not a good thing. There are some people out there saying some outlandish shit, and they shouldn't be, but to me, free speech, the best way to combat bad free speech is a good free speech. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if the truth is on your side, you should embrace it.
Yeah.
So that's on the social level.
Mm-hmm.
But on a volleyball level, I think, and I guess there is a question here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the people who don't use their platform for issues outside of the court are just as valuable, and in many cases, if not more valuable, than if they didn't. Your thoughts?
This subject is tough because there's so much controversy with life right now.
Yeah.
And I just think that this is something that's hard for me. Is I do have social media, and I actually have a decent following because of being at UCLA.
Yeah.
But I'm having a hard time with the whole sponsor thing. Like we have to kind of brand ourselves, like you were talking about. And a big part of that, like almost half of that, is just social media. You know, a lot of people are posting practice videos and workout videos, all these things, and I'm like, I feel like I'm a step behind because I'm not posting this stuff. And occasionally you get the athlete that will post what they believe in politically or socially, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I just think that when you have a big platform, it is a great way to reach an audience, but just know that like there is a divide in a lot of things right now. So if you want to speak up for what you believe in, you might not please everyone that follows you. And I think that's where I get hesitant is, you know, I don't want to be a people pleaser, but I also don't want to use my platform to rub people the wrong way. You know, I posted stuff for Black Lives Matter stuff. Like I went back when that was happening. I've posted stuff about COVID.
And I saw that.
And yeah, and I have a lot of friends, you know, and I just, because I wanted to do that. I'm not going to post something I don't want to post just to post. Just because people think I should, you know.
Because I think people can read the phoniness if you did, right?
Yeah.
Look, you know, I can just name names and out players all I want, but I'm not today. They get a pass. But there are players that said in the media and beach volleyball, oh yeah, I posted social justice stuff on my social media platform, and they're lying. So you know, and that's the problem I have with those people.
Well, and you don't need to fake.
You don't. That's what I'm saying. If you just didn't say shit,
it's fine.
But you know, and it really, really upsets me. You're one of the people I noticed that did that. And you're explicit about your sentiment on that. Fallon Fonoy-Moana, right? She was one of the first ones to come out and openly say how she felt. She was on the podcast. We went an hour 45, and that was a month after the Floyd incident. Yeah. So it was just very fresh emotional, in her. Yeah. So I agree with you, and I hope I didn't interrupt you, but I think what your answer and what you're trying to say is, if it comes from a real place and you feel like it's super necessary, do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just, like I said, it's, not everyone who follows me believes the same things. They're following me because they like what I post. They like to follow my beach volleyball career. I mostly post about volleyball. Sometimes I'll throw stuff up of me just being a normal human because I'm a normal human too. I do other things too. Yeah. But like, there are some times where I feel like I have to post certain things because, like, if I don't post, like, this is another thing, too. Oh, if I don't post about this, like, are people going to think I don't support it? And I don't think it should be like that. Like, no. Maybe I just...
Because if you do support it, all of a sudden, now you're in a position where you're picking a side.
Exactly. And I like to be pretty neutral on things. I like to hear everyone out, and I like to hear what people have to say. Obviously, I am opinionated about certain things, but I do try to be very neutral because I think everyone has arguments for sides of whatever, but there are certain things where I'm like, I don't want to be controversial on here, but
she's like, I don't want any trouble.
I don't want trouble, but like,
no, go ahead.
Get your vaccine. Like, I think that can help, you know, because I don't want to wear a mask anymore. Stuff like this, like, and but that is my opinion, and just because I believe that doesn't mean that everyone around me needs to believe that. Yeah. Like, that's just how I feel. That's what my family feels. We all got vaccinated. We got boosted. It sucked. I got sick from it. It wasn't fun. No. But I just did what I felt like was my part in society. If you don't believe that, that's fine. I don't hate you for that.
No, but don't hate you
for posting that or for doing that. Exactly. Like this is such a melting pot of people and opinions, and I think that's what is so special is we are all such different people from such different backgrounds. Right. And I think that social media is cool, but it causes trouble sometimes because it causes division. And I don't want division. I want people to come together. And I want if I get vaccinated, for example, and someone doesn't, I don't hate them for that. That's their choice. That's what they're going to do. And I think if we can be more like that, it'll help. But again, there are certain things that I am more opinionated about than others. Some things that do rub me the wrong way. And that's not even political or anything. That's just little things. Like if someone's not paying attention to me when I'm coaching, that really rubs me the wrong way. Maybe it doesn't piss someone else off, but even just normal daily things. So I just think that, there are times to post when you feel it's necessary and when you feel it's compelling to you and it's natural for you. And if it's not, don't just throw stuff up there because you have a platform because you feel like you should. Because like you said, it's not genuine
and for
at
sure
that point.
Don't say you did and you haven't,
Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, and
but at the same time, without that kind of dialogue, there's no understanding. Like you just mentioned vaccines, something you didn't want to get into, but I'll give you an example. Like I had the first 2 jabs and I got corona, right?
Yeah.
I got Omicron, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, do the people who got all 3 jabs think that I'm too good to get the 3rd jab? Is there a question that I already have I basically had a de facto 3rd jab by actually having the virus, which all the studies are saying that the antibody buildup is just as strong as a 3rd shot, and the doctors are very careful to be like, don't go out there and get it because of that. That's what I'm saying. That's not what we're saying. But I'm not saying whether you think I'm wrong or right about not getting it. What I'm saying, if it makes sense and if it's at least a conversation, anyone that's saying that's not a conversation is being disingenuous. Yeah. If you have the conversation and you disagree, fine, but you had the conversation. And these conversations are not easy. And sometimes you just have to walk away or you become sick because you become so emotionally invested and you believe that you're right. And then some people are so pig-headed, and at some point it gets insulting because they're insulting your assertion. So you might think they're insulting you personally. And next thing you know, you're losing sleep. That's how we started this podcast.
Exactly.
We talked about sleep, right?
Exactly.
So there's some things where I would like, not you to engage. You're not the exception. You're the example. All right. Again, I've been watching you. But I think engaging is super necessary. But at the same time, it's okay to take a loss if someone's set in their ways. Because you become sick.
Yeah, and I
because you care so much.
Yeah.
Someone like you can't get sucked into those arguments.
You
care too much.
I care about stuff, but also with topics like getting vaccinated, for example.
Right.
There are so many more people that know so much more about it than I do, or are just way more opinionated about it. So I have family members who are, in med school and doing these things and who know a lot about it. And they said, get it. And I said, sure, I'll get it. I'm just like, I'm going to just do what everyone's telling me to do because it seems like the right thing to do. I don't know shit about it. I really don't. I really don't know what I put in I don't. No. I got all 3. And
You're fucking morons.
I've never gotten COVID. Just knock on wood. Yeah. I got all 3. I know a lot of people who were double vaccinated, boosted, and got it. But
I know someone that got it 3 times.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I'm like, when they said that, I just went,
it's so gnarly.
Sorry.
But I don't know enough about it to even have an argument. So why, I'm just going to stay neutral. And that's me with political stuff. I'm so neutral. I don't even give a shit at that. I just want to focus on what's important to me. If it's not very important to me, why would why engage in something that I don't even really care that much about?
No. And why would you engage in something that even the professionals are still trying to figure out?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All right. My wife, she got all 3. Mm-hmm. My kid, 5-year-old, none. Me, the first 2. All 3 of us got infected.
Yeah.
All 3 of us had the same fever for a half a day. All 3 of us recovered same day. Mm-hmm. So, that's something that the scientists need to look at and figure out. I'm not saying, right? One might make the presumption that it didn't matter. That's not true because not all cases are one size fits all. So,
exactly.
So we, like you said, to quote one of my favorite podcasters, guys, I'm a fucking moron. Don't be coming to me for my Rogan. He says, don't come to me for medical advice. Don't come to me for political advice. I'm just having conversations. I don't want no trouble.
Yeah, and I think it's okay.
He's in hot water now, but
I just think it's okay if people have. That's the last thing I'll say about this is you can have your own opinions. That's fine. Whether you are a lot about it or you don't, you can have opinion or whatever.
Yeah.
But as long as people who have differing opinions can still come together and accept that there's different opinions, then
Where's the harm?
all will be good. But people care too much, and they want to prove their point, and that's okay too. But if you have two very opinionated people coming at each other, it's just recipe for disaster. And it's okay, again, to have your opinion, especially if you have the knowledge as well and you've done the research and all these different things. But for me, I'm going to stay out of all that.
Yes.
I'm going to do what I think is right. I'm going to do what my family thinks is
Bam.
right. And if I feel compelled to post about it because it's important to me, I will. And if I don't, then I won't.
So let's jump off that particular subject matter, but at the same time, keep the social question.
Yeah.
How important is it to make sure when you have these conversations, and we're not talking about vaccines anymore. We're done. We're wash our hands of that. I'm just talking about social issues. There's a BLM thing. There were all this other stuff that goes on. Can you appreciate the importance of just being polite when you talk to someone? I'll make a left and right argument, right? If someone from the left, calls someone from the right, you're a gun nut, their natural reaction is going to be like, F you liberal retard, right? And now there's no conversation, right? There has to be a way an etiquette that people have to know how to talk to each other. And I think if people are claiming that they want unity and this and that, it has to start with empathy. And empathy creates politeness in the conversation.
And this goes back to what we were talking about when I'm trying to be a leader or trying to be a coach.
Yes.
You never know what someone else is dealing with or what someone else has gone through or what they know or who they've been around or all these different things. So, and I learned this lesson a long time ago. I think my parents taught me just you never know who could be your boss one day. So just be nice to everyone. Why be, and if you have an issue with someone, address it and move on. You don't need to get in a fight. And sometimes for me, I'm very emotional. So if I address something in the heat of the moment, it's not going to go good because I am too emotional. So I've had to learn to take a step back, process what's going on. And I don't get mad very easily, but when I get mad and I react out of emotion. And this could be about really small stuff too.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn a lot being on a team. I can't just react out of raw emotion because it's not going to go very well. If you can address things, if there's conflict and you can address it, not emotional, just with facts.
It's really hard.
It's really hard, but if you can, there shouldn't be any issues. And I just think that, if someone's being rude to me, yeah, it's annoying, but maybe they're going through something that I don't know about. Doesn't give them an excuse to be rude.
No.
But maybe they have some stuff going on, and I think we should all give people the benefit of the doubt. We're all, like you said, we're all morons. We don't really, we're all trying to figure out our lives, and we're all on different paths, and I think we all have different backgrounds, and if we can all just do our best to be polite and come together and support each other, that's the thing about what we were talking about girls at the beginning of this. If girls can just build each other up,
especially girls, dude.
Girls can just build each other up, and it's hard sometimes, especially when we're athletes, we're competing against each other all the time. This sport's so weird is we all compete against each other, and then the next week we have to practice against each other because it's a very small community.
Yeah.
So
Spartans,
you don't want to burn the bridge around here because then people aren't going to want to train with you. People aren't going to want to play against you. All these different things, and we just all gotta continue to, and that's what I'm very content with this community right now because at least for me, I don't feel any drama. I feel like everyone I've been around has been super polite and super sweet and supportive of me and my journey. And when we're on the court, it's competitive, but it's healthy. And it's, at least in my opinion, we talk about opinions, this is my opinion, things are going very well. And it's not going to be perfect all the time. I'm sure I will have a conflict with an opponent or a partner or a coach or someone. And I just need to address it as politely as I can. And
in regards to reputations, do you try to parrot that information to the juniors you coach? For me, I was just an X's and O's coach. I've been coaching out of the 21 years, the first 7 years, I was just X's and O's. Yeah. Okay, so until I was a returning adult student and I got into this ridiculously competitive, nationally ranked program, and the professor said, "Your reputation starts the day you say I want to be an actor." And I took that information and I transferred it to volleyball. And just like you said, someone might not be a player, they might be a coach. They might be a sports information director. They might be an assistant coach. They might be an DOO. They might be something else. And if you meet them 10 years ago, 10 years from now, they're not going to see the new and improved savvy that took you 10 years to build to get to that point where you saw them again. They're going to remember the Sav
10 years ago.
10 years ago. And if you were a douchebag 10 years ago, it sucks and it's unfair because you're not that person from 10 years ago, right? But that's what they're going to remember. Yeah. And you see that in our spectrum in and out of the sport. Something someone does 10 years ago, it is lazy of us as human beings, but it is a bed that someone makes at that time, and they know they got to do a little bit of sleeping in it, you know? And there has to be this meeting of the minds where they know they got to accept that punishment from the past, but at the same time, the person that's casting the aspersions has to say, hey, now with that being said, I'm mad at who she was. Let me take a second look now. Are you that same person you were 10 years ago? Are you a different person now? Rhetorical question. The answer is yes.
I was going to say, I was 13, so I was pretty young, but yeah.
I see some of the things that are happening to some people I like with Kevin Hart with the Oscars. Rogan, I'm not going to talk about because I'm exhausted talking about him because he's, right now, all of these things that happened 10, 13 years ago, that's who you are now. And I'm wasting my breath arguing with people about this. But I will only say this. I put both hands together and I pray that nobody judges me from the shit I said 10 years ago. Savvy, I pray. It's not right. It's not fair. I'm not that person anymore. You're not that person from 13. You're not even that person from when COVID hit in 2020 and your season got canceled. Or don't you think you're exponentially different? I just think that even from 2 years ago. Yeah. Even from then, you're different.
Yeah, it's like people can't change. That's a saying that goes around, and I don't know if change is the right word. I truly believe that people can grow though. They can
you're
grow.
Optimistic like that.
You can't. I mean, you can't. I don't think I've changed. I'm still the same person, but I've grown and I've learned so much. And the freshman I was when I cheated on my test. You know how much I learned from that one experience? Yeah. If someone, someone was like, you're the same person that you were when you were a freshman in college, I'd be like, you're crazy. Once a cheater,
always a cheater. Yeah. Right? Come on. Yeah.
And like, if you're going to judge me based off something X amount of years ago when I was young and dumb, that sucks because I made a mistake. Yeah. And I think since then I've learned and I've grown, like you said, exponentially. I think I learn and grow every single day of my life.
But like every single day. Think about from that time period till now, what? You're a fucking savage right now compared to that girl before. And that girl back then was, you know what, she wasn't too shabby either, okay? Yeah, look, me 10 years ago, I wasn't too shabby either, all right? I was walking around 199. I was a good-looking guy. I made a woman want to go get a job with benefits. But I would like to end this podcast. We're going to plug in a site and like an Insta handle where people can know about you. But I want to finish with this. The world needs more savvy Simos because of if they can see your journey and see the differences, not just the attributes that you came in, but some of the things where you might have made some errors in judgment, but you stuck to a certain virtue of learning and understanding and seeing what's right and what's wrong that shapes the person you are now. And I can go all day and that this file holds 2 hours and 26 minutes and we're 212. But I'm just gonna shut up and say the world needs more savvy Simos. And that's very, very important.
You have no idea how much that means to me. Seriously. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jason.
And I also know you do I think you probably do grief and anger really well. Speaking for men, and everyone's going to love this, women have a face that men don't have. Only women have it, but they know it when they see it. When a woman is experiencing grief and anger at the same time, it looks like this. and for my guys who see or for the audience who can see the video version of this, the audio version, tough shit, but the video version, if you see a woman like that, be somewhere else. If you're too close, like the way we're sitting from each other and you can't get away, just give her a hug. Just give her a hug. You're in the eye of the storm. And the best way I know how to describe it was the face I just showed you, and I'll show you again. It's you're angry, right? And you're grief stricken, and you want to lash out, but you can't because you don't want people to see you angry, and you're just trying to find a way to handle it, and it balls up into this. Ever see Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Queen Daenerys.
Yes.
Remember when they tried to ring the bell, and we say, "Oh, we surrender, we surrender." Let me tell you something. Sorry, didn't mean jack shit to Daenerys. Watch it again when they ring the bell, right? And then they're supposed to surrender, and she wasn't supposed to do it. Watch her face before she fucking went straight dragon lady on him. It looked exactly like the look I showed you. Like, what? Sorry? Sorry? So, hey, give us a website, Insta handle. Hey, someone's your fan. They want to know more about
probably
you.
Just Instagram. Yeah, at Savvy Simo, SAVVYSIMO.
Yes.
Super simple. That's me. Follow me.
Yeah, people
me.
People are like, yo, I'm a fan of her. She knows how to play volleyball, and she even looks pretty. How can I get to know more about Sav? How can I be down? Please, I'll clean your car for you. Give me some information, Jason. And say it again. It's Savvy what?
Just Savvy Simo. My name.
I like it.
Yeah. Super easy.
All right, so let's wind up. I'm going to do my music.
All right.
Savvy Simo might love you guys, but me, I don't love you guys. In fact, I'm done with you guys. In fact, I am out of here, all right? So for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPad at Starbucks, for all of you on your droids, for all of you on your desktop, who runs the world? Old school from my homie, Sav Simo. I'm Jason DeBiss. This is episode 128. Stay with me. I'm going to hit my music, and we're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.